We also have in the Guardian newspaper a caption here that says, federal government states sue for reconciliation to end Tiv Jukun crisis. Federal government states sue for reconciliation to end Tiv Jukun crisis. And finally, black man, you're on your own. Black man, you're on your own. All the stories you find in The Guardian today. And the very first day, how Buhari's COVID-19 speech leaked ahead of broadcast. The president's speech, the speech delivered by President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday to update the nation on the ravaging coronavirus and the lockdown to prevent the spread of the disease was leaked hours before its broadcast. The fake version of the address, which found its way onto official platforms of the State House Press Corps and other social media channels, was filled with errors and information different from what was contained in the one read on national television by the president. The development has sparked the anger of presidency officials who have since commenced an investigation to unravel individuals behind the leakage of the draft speech. Specifically, as the president was about delivering his address to the nation at 8 p.m., the version laden with errors was already circulating on social media. For instance, in the draft speech, the lockdown in Lagos, Ogun, and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) was to be lifted on Saturday, May 2nd, 2020. But in the broadcast, President Buhari announced Monday, May 4th, 2020, as the date to begin a gradual lifting of the lockdown. Also, while the president announced the total lockdown of Kano State for 2 weeks, the leaked draft only said the total lockdown recently announced by the state government shall remain enforced for the full duration. Media reports yesterday alleged that the leaked version was copied from a Microsoft Word document with the original text and edits in. Ruben Abati, a former spokesman to erstwhile President Goodluck Jonathan, dismissed the argument that the president's speech could be hacked into. How can somebody hack the president's speech? I don't want to hear that, he said. A mix-up should have occurred in the first instance in the preparation of the president's speech. Abati stated during the live television program, which is monitored by The Guardian in Abuja yesterday, President Buhari's senior special assistant in media and publicity, Garba Shehu, had, while responding to inquiries from The Guardian on Monday, noted there is a statement given each time there is a broadcast. If there's going to be one, you will get such a statement. The media reports yesterday also added that Mustafa, who's the chairman of the task force, a source who is in the know of the leak. Emmanuel.
Well, good morning, Annie. Good morning, Nigeria.
Good morning. Good to have you.
You see,
I got carried away with the leak.
I'm not bothered about the leak because for me, as the president, the one I will listen to, and that's the one I will take, even though there was or there have been leakages. So for me, I want to believe that the presidency, if it's act, should look inwards. Whatever is killing the cola nut is inside it. Because it couldn't have been outside ahead of time for the broadcast. But because one of the staff right there leaked it. So who is that? Machineries can be activated within the presidency to fish out the person.
You know, one thing, though, that worries me is we've had a lot of incidents like this with this administration. Some documents been leaked, something been let out when it ought not to be.
Yeah, what have they done to forestall that? Because, you see, when in local parlance, they said, when dog bite you once, yes, that dog is crazy. But if you allow that same dog to bite you a second time, it is you that is crazy. Now, it happened the first time, it happened the second time. What have they done? They should do something now. If they are not doing anything, and then they want us to be hearing it on newspaper, let them continue. Maybe it's also benefiting some people.
All right, then. Albertima joins us. Good morning. He's JP, journalist and international affairs analyst. Well, this is a local affair, but then I'm sure you still have something to say about it.
Can you modify it to international?
Nope. You're stuck with talking about leaked letters in Nigeria.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you.
Yes. Remember that the former LGF, Babachir Lawal, he asked a question: which presidency?
No, who is the presidency?
Who is the presidency?
Who is the presidency? You know, in other words, that statement implies that there's nobody that is in charge of what you may see or term as presidency in Nigeria today. Even a clerk in that place can do whatever. You can imagine the speech of the president. The point is that one must even go into the system before he delivered that speech. I don't know. Is it an online?
Well, the speech he delivered and the one that leaked are slightly different when you have errors and variations.
If they said it's different, then there's no leakage.
There's no need talking about it.
Yeah.
No, but the edited version is very similar. Like you have those, that's why I said variations. Perhaps when he had a date here, there's a different date here. Maybe when there was supposed to be this, it was scratched out and this.
What we call leakage is when the original copy of an information is leaked.
Well, the
in
edited copy was leaked. The edited copy ought not to be leaked either.
Yeah, whichever way.
There is a leakage.
There's no copy that should leak.
Exactly. No copy ought to be leaked. Not the version the president read and not the copy that was edited to get to the final version. None of it should be out in the public.
The point there is that
until the right time, which is when the
president will deliver
when the speech has been delivered.
Yeah.
Exactly what I'm trying to say. That anything that resembles the original speech, it's not the speech. It's not a copy of that speech. That's my own take. But if it is something that is word to word, resembles the original speech that the president read to the nation, then we say, okay, the president's speech leaked. But if it is in the version we are now hearing, where somebody say editing or not editing, the point there is that who is in charge of the president's, who is his speech writer or writers. So that is the place. Now there is this kind of thing we are now getting the alibi that the thing is coming from a presidential task force. That the person who wrote the speech is from the presidential district. So why is it that the people in the presidency did not make input in that speech that the president will read to the nation? So it calls for a lot of interrogation, but which is neither here nor there. But that is not the first time. I don't think it is going to even be the last time. And the issue, like what Ruben Abate said, it's not possible to hack the president's speech.
All right,
because he has been there. So there's a kind of like
he's been there. He's expected he would know. He doesn't know that changes have occurred. It's very possible the system has changed.
Allow for all this.
It's very possible. It's very possible. So Ruben Abati being there doesn't make him an authority in knowing what is happening there right now.
The president's speech cannot be leaked. I wonder if it's in heaven. Yes. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I
for
agree
me,
with you.
Ruben Abati is neither here nor there.
He's talking about hacking.
No, I think that, of course, that because when he was there and he perhaps knew the processes,
yes,
he would say it's very difficult. But to say that it can never be, as difficult as it is, if someone is determined to leak it, he will leak it.
Of course.
Cargo to save local airlines amid global slump. The only problem is why there's so many leaks within this administration.
Enjoy leaks.
Cargo to save local airlines amid global slump crisis. Local airlines have been urged to shift focus to air cargo operations to enhance the chance of survival during the current restriction in passenger services and difficult recovery that lies ahead. Industry experts at airlines should follow the pragmatic examples of carriers like Lufthansa, Air Canada, and Kenya Airways that are deploying passenger carriers to cargo operations, which are currently unrestricted in Nigeria. The call comes at a time when the International Air Transport Association released data for March air cargo performance demonstrating a severe capacity shortfall. Global demand fell by 15.2% in March compared to the previous minus 15.8% for international markets. Global capacity shrank by 22.7% in March compared to the previous year of minus 24.6% for international markets. Notwithstanding, African airlines were less affected by disruptions in March. They saw year-on-year growth in international cargo tone kilometers fall by 1.2% following the positive annual outcomes in January and February. The Africa-Asia market was the only trade lane which continued to post growth in March with volumes up almost 10% year-on-year. International capacity decreased by 8.2%. Aviation security consultant Group Captain John Ojikutu, retired, said there was nothing in the Aviation Ministry's lockdown directives that stopped the domestic airlines from operating special flights, especially cargo flights, as Air Peace is doing. Yesterday we spoke about aviation industry. So if this is one angle that they could move in, seeing that it is even stated here that there is a demand for cargo airplanes, they might, for survival's sake, do the needful.
Yeah, you know that in Nigeria, we love diversification as a song, but not in practice. And so these people will not indeed want to diversify because it is part of diversification. You know that the normal one is not working, but the cargo one can be functional. It very well, but in practice, no.
All right, then let's get your thoughts on this, Obidima.
The problem, I don't know whether we are talking in reference to Nigeria. Talking in reference to Nigeria, I always stand and reaffirm it that we have never deployed local strategy on how to handle the crisis we are now. We're just a kind of copying whatever that other countries are doing. We're not even bothered to see.
Said last week, the capital budget. So IMF has approved $3.4 billion for Nigeria's emergencies funding, and domestically, we've also gotten approval.
I think my worry in the whole thing is that whether in external or internal, is borrowing. One that Lawan and all his men suspended the other one that should have gone to committee and order to execute thorough scrutiny
before the approval.
Yeah, before the approval.
Or not.
Yeah, that one is jettisoned. They need that. But I am saying, perhaps if the president thinks at home from the local capital market, it is not a loan, would have been more beneficial. It might be, as he's saying, but are we not tired of going to every time cap in hand say, please lend us, lend us? I think they have to be very careful because it looks as if we don't have loan, we won't even finance our budget. And that means a lot of other things cannot be done domestically if we don't have a loan for that. I hope we are not nearing bankruptcy.
All right, go your
and the other one of IMF.
Yeah.
It's our holding. It's total holding. Well, when you have maybe a big car, whatever, and the things become so difficult, what else? You won't see that car again. You start asking, well, what about it? What about it? It has done the needful to help cushion the effect. So my worry is, will they deploy that? This is something like you hung it somewhere, you've taken it from there, and then will they use it exactly for the purpose? If they don't, we won't have any other fallback on that.
Exactly. That's it. All right, Obidima.
Is it 27 point something billion dollars or $29 billion before the budget was passed? We went into another $6 billion. Loan something request. We are going now to 800 billion naira. Now 3 point something billion dollars from IMF. Whether it is you are holding or not you are holding, it's a loan.
It is.
Because it is your statutory responsibility or duty to IMF. If it is your money you are collecting, and it's not loan, they will not give you time to repay it.
Yeah.
And within a short period, 5 years, 3.something billion. Do you know what we are just saying? Let us convert it to naira so that Nigeria will hear the kind of amount of money we are taking from that area. And we are talking of financing budget. We're not even talking of how we can develop the real sector. We're not talking about that. How we can beef up our manufacturing sector? How we can beef up those things that can really regenerate.
Well, part of the budget was supposed to work in those areas. Is that not what the budget was for in the first place?
Which
2020 budget.
To work the capital budget. The capital budget is mainly road construction and all those things. We are talking of deploying this money to the manufacturing this thing, to develop our manufacturing sector.
It was not in your budget.
It's not there.
That's what I'm saying. So you want them to just out of the dream.
That's what we want now. Then into agriculture. How we can go into mechanized agriculture. So they are not really spending that. You can imagine the 29 billion this thing they are saying. Almost 17 states in the north are beneficiaries of that very loan, which the Southeast is kicking against. So all this one they are collecting now. We still don't know how to.
The $3.4 billion dollars is not for the budget. They said it's because of this pandemic. So you don't even calculate. So you don't even know exactly where that money is going to be sunk into. They said it's to mitigate Nigeria to survive through this pandemic. So what they actually will be using the money for, particularly, you and I don't have an idea now. What we do know that they will use the money for is the $850 billion that the Senate approved. That is to help with the budget.
Yeah, with the 3.4 billion from IMF, and they are not telling us what they will use that money for, only to make a general statement to fight coronavirus. Are they also bringing that money to ensure that every Nigerian gets 100,000 naira from it?
It's all right.
You know, they should tell us what they will use it to build hospitals, or they will use it to. I can't really understand why we should not know certain things they want to use that money to do, only to general statement want to get 3.8 to fight coronavirus. It's I think the National Assembly should leave the issue of partisan this thing and go into what with this one, convert that money to naira. That's where my own concern is, how much it is in naira.
All right.
Because in naira now,
we're not going to be doing any conversion, unfortunately.
Let's
just move on. Thank you very much. Then you have Trump discusses with Buhari, promises to send ventilators. President Donald Trump of the United States has discussed with the Nigerian counterpart Muhammadu Buhari on the steps being taken by the federal government to combat the coronavirus, promising to send ventilators to boost the fight. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, disclosed this yesterday at the press briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Abuja. He said President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday had a full conversation with President Donald Trump at the request of the American leader. The conversation centered on Nigeria's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. President Buhari used the opportunity to brief the American president on steps that Nigeria is taking to contain the spread of the disease. For his part, President Trump assured that the United States stands in solidarity with Nigeria in this difficult time and promised to send ventilators to support the country in its fight against the pandemic. President Trump also extends his best regards to the people of Nigeria. In a related development, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, yesterday alleged shadiness in the distribution of federal government provided palliatives to states. During a working visit to the headquarters of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, in Abuja, the minister demanded to know the operational plans at the state level. Her words: "We are supposed to work with states to ensure the operational plans at the state level distribution are transparent. It is very key to us. That will allow us to effectively monitor the distribution to the targeted people." She reiterated the need for collaboration with states, especially when they are taking the interventions, in order to leverage the top-to-down approach. The minister continued, "I know we have a structure on ground and we need to really strengthen the structure so that we can be able to assist the victims by taking these palliatives to the targeted beneficiaries, the poor and the vulnerable in the society." We would like the DG of NEMA to tell us about the state-level arrangements, because we have been receiving questions in the...
To sanction whoever is responsible. But if you don't do it as is happening in
will
Nigeria,
continue.
shadiness will enshroud it, because that's where they want to put it in the bag and tie up. Now, in terms of there's something before the palliative.
Yeah, that is on Trump.
Good. You see, and Trump is trying to defy the normal order of whoever is burdened by maybe problem cannot help another person. With the scourge of this pandemic in America, he still tries to call President Buhari just to ask how we are taking care of our own, and then promising to set ventilators. I think we should give him kudos. And, the kudos will just come from that promise until it's delivered. And we find that, yes, we have it. We thank him very well, because it's not easy when you are tied to a stake. You from that place will go and untie another person.
All right, then. Thank you for your thoughts on that. Let's get to Toby Dima.
Well, I think that's
His favorite person is the one who
that's
called.
another perspective of new colonialism that is going to emerge after this coronavirus. You see, China, I'm sure that most Western countries will have issues with China. And China penetrating to Africa will also be difficult. Now, what would the advanced countries do? You see, Germany is also sending something.
Yeah.
EU has sent. America is also focusing. That the focus is going to be on Africa to expand their trade when they start running, because they know that Africa will lag behind. The countries like Nigeria will lag behind. So this is the time to prepare the ground, the space in Africa before now. If not, if this were still normal, I don't think that Trump would have called Buhari until Buhari finishes his tenure. Yes.
You don't know that?
Yeah, because he made that statement
That he won't call.
that he doesn't want to see him.
Where did he make that statement?
He did.
He did not.
We read it after
You
the
not
last visit
you
of,
read. Where did he read it? Where did he read it?
And don't pretend as if
I am asking
he
you.
didn't,
I didn't. You're not me, and I'm not you. I said if you
I
read
read
it,
it.
good.
Good. Uh-huh.
I read it. So
where did you
the
read
point,
it?
The point there
That he
is
doesn't want
that-
to see President Buhari.
that they should not bring it to him.
Oh, good Christ!
So and that relationship
Oh,
has
big
been like
difference.
that now that we are now hearing telephone conversation between the two yesterday. So what we are trying to say is that every country is working towards post-coronavirus, and we are not even holding conversation towards that. So they are bringing ventilator. Look at this Senegal, Sierra Leone, how creative and strategic that country is. They are producing their own ventilator. The ventilator that can cost, foreign ventilator that can cost about $16,000. They are making their own that can cost $60 only. And it's serving them. And I heard that they want to produce more of these testing kits to send to other African countries. It's among either the third in the world that have managed this virus thing.
All right.
Very well.
Okay.
So where is Nigeria? What are they doing? What in the area of health, in the area of the economy? What are they really
Obitima, we got
putting
your
together?
thoughts. We got your thoughts.
after
Thank
the
you very much.
coronavirus
Chief Lovedale
issue?
Kerry. Let me move to Chief Lovedale Kerry, social political analyst and community leader. Good to have you. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Annie.
All right, we're talking about President Trump's phone call to President Buhari yesterday. Reports of shadiness. We want Nema to tell us what states are doing.
Well, on the issue of a phone call between Trump and President Buhari, I don't get it why it should be a news that a president of America had a phone call conversation with the president of Nigeria, that he should make a news. I don't know what. Ordinarily, if there was no COVID-19, it's expected that there must be this kind of communication between country and country through whichever means. And besides, why I'm getting worried over this is the kind of outburst from the Minister for Information and Culture yesterday during his briefing. He said that during the conversation that the President Buhari used the opportunity to brief President Buhari and President Trump To brief him how? I don't get that particular aspect. Is President Trump now supervising President Buhari over COVID-19?
Is it the word brief there that gets to you?
Yes, because when you say you briefed somebody, it's as if you are reporting back. You know, you are reporting back to what is expected of you from a particular errand that you are sent. So when I heard that word from Lai Mohammed, I was worried. I say, what kind of a statement is that? What was Buhari briefing Trump over? It's not okay. All this while in Nigeria here, President Buhari has been silent over reaching out to Nigerians, except when he come to make broadcasts.
When he does the broadcast, he's briefing you.
Of course, I say so.
All right, good.
That it has always been the minister of health and the SSG and some other the members of PTF that has always been briefing Nigeria up to day-to-day activities. So just yesterday, the Lai Mohammed come to say that President Buhari used the opportunity to brief President Trump. I got worried over it, honestly. However,
that's why I said because of the word brief.
Yes, exactly.
Obviously, that's what your problem is.
Yeah, that's my problem. That's my problem. Okay. So, and that act is an act of submission to neocolonizing. Look at a small country like Madagascar. Decided to produce whether herb or vaccine, whichever way. And they saw that particular herb was effective to handling this particular scourge. And they maintained today they have recorded 0 deaths as a result of COVID-19. Nigeria is so big that at least if you compare the level of deaths over this, you will give applause to Nigerian medical doctors that they have done well. So we would have, improved upon whatever thing that these doctors and nurses have been doing. And we become a champion that even the world would have been coming to Nigeria to say, what are people doing differently that we didn't do? That killed so many persons in Italy, Spain, America, and China. And we're not submitting to say we're going to brief them of what? Something that they couldn't handle very, very well in America.
Emmanuel,
so I'm worried over that.
I'm trying.
No, you have a right to be worried. You see, it's just a communication term. Lai Mohammed is talking about, because as the conversation was on, Trump would have told Buhari, and Buhari will also ask about the deaths in America as we're hearing, and Trump would have outlined the measures that they are battling it. In that way, he's briefing Buhari. But Lai Mohammed is on the side of Nigeria. He's talking about his own president. And so, from the conversation, Buhari used that particular medium to tell but let me not use brief.
Okay, why are you avoiding the word?
No, that's what I'm saying. Do you know that brief is the same as inform?
Simple.
Brief is the same as inform.
There is no
difference between informing and briefing. It depends on the context
I don't want to go into that argument.
Let's go to that argument.
I will tell you that briefing is different from information.
No, it is not. Open your dictionary.
They are different.
That's what I'm telling you. It depends on the context. Open your dictionary and see that inform and brief are the same.
If I'm giving you information, I'm informing you.
If I say I'm briefing you, I could be informing you.
Simple. But it's true.
A brief is more of
if I say Chief Loveday, I want to brief you on. I want to brief you on this.
Okay,
or if I say I want to inform you, it's the same.
Let's leave that.
In international relations.
Yes, please.
As international affairs analyst.
When it comes to a conversation between two heads of states, you use diplomatic expression. It's not the expression you use. If maybe the foreign affairs minister is the one that is doing what Lai Mohammed did yesterday, would have used even inform or brief in their conversation. In their conversation.
Hold on, no. What you are even trying to say here is the word that was used, not the act itself happened.
Not the act.
So it doesn't read. Then I'm just saying we're worried about the semantics because
word.
whether Buhari told Trump what he was doing, are we now querying that he shouldn't have told Trump?
No.
That's why I remove brief.
That's what I'm saying.
Not that he cannot tell him. Not in
that he said
a minister of information should catch that language in a way that it will not seem as if our president.
All right.
What makes it undiplomatic, please?
No, wait,
What
now.
makes
The brief that he
is
said.
subservient.
No.
Because the word brief.
No.
Yeah,
Is it because the word brief?
yeah, whether it's a form, whether it is brief.
No.
You see, let's leave this.
Let's move on.
leave
We
the
don't have
semantics
time. We
now.
don't have time for the semantics. We're moving on. As long as we agree that the act itself is not a problem, is
The whole thing
how
is
you
beggarly,
describe
as if
it.
we are begging America.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's not
what
the issue of begging.
that's what
Not
you're
the issue of
saying.
begging.
Let's move on. Trump discusses with Buhari, promises to send ventilators, and then we have task force meals with task force meals guidelines to ease lockdown in Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun. Presidential task force on COVID-19 is to develop guidelines for the easing of the lockdown in Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun states. Also, the Ministry of Health has set up a ministerial expert advisory committee made up of eminent virologists, public health experts, infectious disease and diagnostics experts, among others, to study the evolution of the coronavirus outbreak and the responses in Nigeria, as well as advice on national strategy and action plan. Besides, the NCDC is making sure that 2 million Nigerians are tested for the disease in the next 3 months. Its Director General, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu, dropped the hint yesterday during the daily briefing of the PTF in Abuja. He explained that no fewer than 50,000 people are to be tested in each state, adding that the move was to reduce the transmission of the virus. Throwing light on the guidelines, the task force chairman and secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, pointed out that the gradual easing does not mean we'll remove all restrictions or in any way imply that the danger has passed, as the virus is still potent, virulent, and dangerous. He added, we must remain very vigilant and careful. We must take responsibility for our actions. Mustafa reiterated that the lockdown remained in full force until midnight, May 3rd, after which new measures will apply. Also yesterday, the presidency declared that the current administration could not afford a situation where agricultural senior special assistant on media and publicity Garba Shehu in Abuja, it therefore charged states law enforcement agents on seamless movement of essential goods, asserting Nigerians need to eat. All right, I was hoping that what I was going to see here was directives as to how this selective lifting of the lockdown will be done. But all I get is we're on it. We're harnessing information from this sector and that sector. My problem is that it seems we don't do things as quickly as we need to. Today is what, the 29th? And then the gradual phasing of the lockdown is 4th of May.
Yeah.
So when will they compile, or that they need to compile, understand the technicalities of what they're doing, how they will enforce it, and what loopholes this might have? It just seems as if it's such a short time. I was thinking that before the president made that announcement in his speech, it was because they already understood that this is what we'll be doing at the 4th of March, and this is how we've already said calculating. Because the president did say the task force will brief the nation as to the steps that they'll be taking. If they're not telling us today that it's the 29th, is it 30th or is it 1st?
Thank you. Because that's what exactly where I was just going. The president's charge was that it is from the task force we are going to hear, and the modalities means they'll tell us we are going to do it this or that. But now he said it doesn't mean all the restrictions will be removed and all that. How are you going to do it? This is very silent.
Yeah, we'll wait.
I don't understand. Well, let them go.
Garbage in, garbage out. Buhari has just read what was written for him to read. Did he ask
That's what the
questions?
presidents do.
No, you see, we are talking of a situation where, in a situation like this, like what happened in America recently, when a state wanted to open up, I heard it from CNN, the team prevailed on Trump not to support. They said Trump was under pressure for his team not to support that governor from just opening up immediately. And Trump really listened what they said and told the governor that it's not a support of that way he's want to reopen the economy of the state. So the point there is that who is briefing the president and what is his own input in that conversation? Has he also knowledge of what they are bringing to him? Because it's a president that has not been coming out. He does not even know. He has not visited even the city of Abuja to feel the impact of this state. He has not visited any state to know what people are going through. So the point I'm trying to say is that the lockdown issue, how the modality and how not the modality will, is not left for the presidential task force. The thing is this: let our country sit down, like what you read there. It's not the assembling virologists. It's not they are bringing.
What were they doing all along?
All along, to
We
come
always
and study.
wait. We always wait for the very last minute.
And this is I don't know whether it's the only country that is not even pushing its research institutes or universities to begin to work on developing vaccine.
You can now see us struggle with them.
So
always.
it's still the problem. Our research institutes and all those things, they are saying they are testing, they will test 3 million in the next 3 months. Where do they have the capacity? When we are testing 10,000, Ghana is testing 100 and something thousand. South Africa is testing 170 something thousand. We are 10,000 with a population of 200 and something million. What a kind of country is this? Sometimes it's like one should carry
Obejima,
us and they begin to
you are
slaughter everybody.
You are an internet. If we want to start slaughtering, we will put you outside. You face the sea. Atlantic Ocean will be going as an international affairs analyst, slaughter what you can from the ocean
It's
going
annoying.
forward.
The way we do
Chief
things.
Chief Lovedale, okay, let me get to you here now. What we looked was on the task force and their plan on guidelines to ease the lockdown, and pretty much did not state what it is as for now, but that they were working on it. They also assured that 2 million Nigerians will be tested for the disease in the next 3 months. The plan that 50,000 people will be tested in each state. They're saying that this will help aid in the move to reduce the transmission of the virus. And then the secretary to the government, who is the chairman for the task force, pointed out that the gradual easing does not mean that we'll remove all restrictions or in any way imply that the danger has passed, as the virus is still potent and virulent and dangerous. But what they're looking at now is getting virologists and public health experts, infectious disease and diagnostic experts to study the evolution of the coronavirus outbreak and the responses in Nigeria, as well as advice on national strategy and action plan. But the set guidelines for the easing of the lockdown in Abuja and Lagos and Ogun states has not been made yet.
Well, I've said over and over that this pandemic has exposed Nigeria, especially our leadership, on their unpreparedness to govern Nigeria and Nigerians. Because you can't tell me that a month before the first the Italian
February.
yes, was discovered in Nigeria, this thing has been there in China, Italy, Spain, and Europe and America, and we are still unable to guide against importation of this scourge into the country, knowing how fast that this kind of virus spreads among the people. Even now that it has been discovered, the curve has not even flattened. We are talking about seeing how to allow certain things move, allow it somehow. Whereas, even as at yesterday, France has extended their lockdown. So many countries have extended their lockdown. Areas where we even have that the curve has flattened and getting down. Now, Nigeria, imagine yesterday, it was around 100 and something persons that was discovered to be positive, 100 and something, including one again in Port Harcourt, as I read from NCDC. So for me, it is not yet time ordinarily for us to begin to talk about relaxing it anywhere now.
Look at Germany. Germany relaxed and they suddenly have a spike in new cases.
Exactly.
Ghana did the same thing too and saw spike over 200 in one day.
Thank you. You see, so for me, anybody bringing the idea of trying to see how we can relax this and that, well, if they had relaxed it just to allow National Assembly to resume, pay for them to resume to go and approve that
850.
How much? How many $1 million they are borrowing?
850
they should just approve whatever and go back. Let people still remain at home until we have a flat curve and let it begin to slope down. We will now begin to look inward to see how we can, save Nigerians.
Right.
Otherwise, there may be a kind of escalation that we will be unable to handle.
Indeed. The news update comes up next. Thank you very much. Stay with us.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today 95.1 FM.
Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Hello and good morning. Here's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Annie Abdul Salam. Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency says it has commenced a scientific inquiry to identify the cause of the recent shoals of dead fish washed ashore along the Niger Delta coastline states of Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River Delta, and River State. NIMASA's head of corporate community members of 18 patients from the State Isolation Center after testing negative twice for the dread down restrictions, with civil servants from grade level 12 and above asked to resume work from Thursday, April 30th. According to the governor, social distancing rules will be strictly applied for burials and weddings with no more than 15 persons. He, however, noted that conferences and other social sporting activities remain banned until May 31st. Okowa also said 1 million pieces of face masks produced by the state government are ready for distribution across the 25 local government areas of this year's International Workers' Day celebration. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, who made the declaration on behalf of the federal government, commended Nigerian workers for their resilience, patience, and understanding, particularly in their support of the efforts of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari stemming the spread of COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Aregbesola, who further thanked Nigerians and the labor force for their sacrifices, various economic stabilization efforts by the federal government. He therefore, who was medical director of the emergency department at New York Presbyterian Allen Hospital in Manhattan, died of self-inflicted injuries. She died at Charlottesville, Virginia, where she had been staying with her family. Her father, Dr. Philip Breen, told the New York Times that she tried to frequently with soap on the running water. Avoid touching your face in high contact surfaces to prevent coronavirus. I am Annie Abdusalam. Good morning.
Weather at Port Harcourt. Are you ready? Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Today is here. Yesterday is gone and unrecoverable. Tomorrow, you don't know what it holds, right? You have today. Yes, you heard me. You have today. The indisputable truth is that today is pregnant with both good and bad. You have freely been given today as a gift to see what you will make out of it. Permit me to be positive. Permit me to sideline the negative and magnify the good. Permit me to espouse on today. Today is great. Today is wonderful. Today is targetable and targets can be achieved. Today is domineering and you can be dominant. Today is a conqueror and goals can be conquered. Today is
95.1 FM.
Voice of the people.
We're back.
It's exactly 7 minutes of Abo. He is the admin and accounts manager for Returns Market Investment.
Into is trading and investing in the foreign, exactly.
Well, recently the oil market price went into deep recession, leaving oil prices at negative. How are you able to sustain your investment?
Unlike the Nigerian stock market, which is just a one-directional market. Now, in the international capital market, you make money when prices appreciate, and you also make money when prices depreciate. So all you need to do would have, just like everywhere, is lockdown, increments in investment on the floor of the international capital market. So this is the right time. This is the best time to invest in the market.
Okay. So due to the ongoing lockdown,
Yes.
and stay-at-home measures being initiated by the federal government in some states, River State has also got that in some places.
Yes.
How can one make money even while staying at home?
Okay. For listeners who are listening to us right now and they are wondering how to make money from this kind of time, this is where returns market investment come in. You don't even need to come to our office. You just need to log on to our website. That's www.returnsinvestmentnigerianlimited.com. Now, why am I asking you to log on there? Log on to the website and register with us. Register an investment package with us. So instead of leaving the money stay in the bank and not bring in any returns for you, you could actually invest your money with us. And every month you get a 10% return on investment. So that is a best way to make money while you're at home.
All right. Okay. So, how can Nigerians who are locked at home and need to reach out to you, how can they contact Returns Market Investment Nigeria Limited?
Okay, for listeners who are other parts of Port Harcourt that is currently not locked down, you could actually access our head office at number 33B, Rumola Stadium, Link Road, Port Harcourt, and our branch office at number 10 NTA Road, Checkpoint Junction, Rumokuta, Port Harcourt. Or you could actually call the phone number 0815 518 9002. I take that again. 0815 518 9002. Or you could call us on the second line 090 365 27708. I take that again. 0903 652-7708. Or you could actually log on to our website, like I said earlier on, at www.returnsinvestmentnigerianlimited.com. Take that again, www.returnsinvestmentnigerianlimited.com. Or you could write to us an email at info@returnsinvestmentnigerianlimited.com. info@returnsinvestmentnigerianlimited.com.
All right, amazing. So with many countries experiencing recession due to the COVID-19 pandemic, is the international capital market affected by recession?
I think so far, like I said earlier on, the international capital market business is the only business you could actually do now and not bother about whether you're going to get paid. Now, with most economy going downstream into recession, the international capital market is not going into recession. Now, let me give a practical example. Like when the pandemic hit the world and most companies, big organizations were closing up, we had the likes of Facebook, Amazon, their stocks were increasing day by day. So people who actually invested in Amazon, Facebook, thereabout, were making money. So while others who were working with organizations were actually losing, and the unemployment rates in the US actually struck up to 20 million. Now we can't tell for Nigeria. So the international capital market business is not going into recession. We'll never go into recession. So it's the best business anyone can do.
We'll never go into recession. The
Yes.
international capital market will never go into recession. So regardless what's happening with other countries,
regardless,
they stay high above that.
They stay high.
So what's the sustainability and the future of this market then?
The sustainability of this market is just the continuation in fluctuation of prices. So long as there is fluctuation in price, this business is sustained. Now, what does that mean for us? Because we do not have a unified currency that's globally. You have the dollar, you have the pounds, you have the naira, you have the yen, you have the euro, and these are different currencies that would oftentimes or in every second change hand from one person to the other. So long as there is that exchange rate happening, there would always be the international capital market. Just like we have the US oil and then we have the Brent oil not being the same, and then the prices also varying. That fluctuation, that's what keeps this business.
Okay, all right then. So what would you say is the uniqueness of Returns Market Investment Nigeria Limited, this other investment companies?
For Returns Market Investment, I think one thing that makes us stand out there is our consistency in delivery. Right from the very first day we opened our business in Port Harcourt, we told this very minute that I'm talking to you. So there's been no glitches anywhere that I invested with returns market, and for 1 year or for 2 months, I didn't get my money. They said they were going to be giving us 10%, and after some 2 months, they have reduced it to 5%. Or they have now told us that the money went this or went that. So we're being consistent rather in delivering what we told our client we will.
All right. Okay, good. So who is Returns Market Investment ready to do business with? I mean, we have so many people listening to you right now.
Yeah.
So what kind of categories of people are you interested in working with?
Returns market is open to 3 categories of people. The first category is for clients who are listening to us now who are interested in what I'm saying and would not just want to invest with us, but would actually want to learn on how the international capital market business runs. We hold a 2-month intensive class for what we call the beginners class. So we teach people who don't even have an idea of how the international capital market works. And in 2 months, we're able to move these people from novice to being a pro that's trading on the floor of the international capital market. We also have the next class, what we call the client B. The client B are people who are already trading on the floor of the international capital market, but have not been consistent with their profit. So we organize a 1-month coaching class for them, where we'll coach them on how to sustain profit making on the floor of the international capital market. And then for the final category, that's the client C. Now, the client C, someone who's listening to me might not have the time or the interest to want to learn about the business, but have some cool cash somewhere that he doesn't just want to keep there and not make profit from it, but would love to invest the money with us and make the 10% we're talking about this money. So if you're that client, all you need to do is call the numbers or come to our office or go to our website. You don't even need to leave your house. So from the comfort of your room on our website, you could actually register an investment portfolio with us. So those are the clients we're looking for today.
And these clients, how can they contact Returns Market Investment?
You could call
Returns
us.
Market Investment, Nigeria Limited.
Yeah, exactly. So you could call us right away, right now. Just pick up your phone and call us, and someone will attend to you. Just call the number 0815 518 9002. I take that again. 0815 518 9002. Or you could call the second number on 0903. That's 0903 652 7708. I take that again. 0903 652 7708. Or you could actually, if the lockdown is not affecting you, could actually walk down to our head office at number 33B, Brumola Stadium Link Road, Port Harcourt. That's if you're coming in from Brumola, which is the only route now open. Coming in from Brumola, that's just after the South Philly station. Or you could go to our branch office at number 10 NTO Road, Checkpoint Junction, Rumokote, Port Harcourt. Or you could actually visit our website at www.returnsinvestmentsnigerianlimited.com. Or you could write us an email at info@returnsinvestmentsnigerianlimited.com.
All right. I mean, I've had a few people ask me this, so let me just quickly ask that if they are once they come to invest,
Okay.
They wanted to know: are there durations at which they must invest in, or it's open? They can decide I want to be here for just 1 month, 3 months, or there are packages that determines how they stay invested.
Oh, okay, good question. Thank you. We have different investment packages, and we have what we call the short-term investment package, just for 1 month. So we are investing for 1 month with any amount from 300,000 and above. You invest for 1 month, that's a period of 30 days. You get your returns.
Okay.
And then we have the next package, which is from 3 months to 2 years. We call that the long term. Meaning you can invest for 3 months. You could invest for 6 months. You can invest for 18 months or 2 years, as the case may be. You would invest amount from 300,000 and above. You get 10% return on investment every month. And away from that, we also have packages like 50-50. Now, the 50-50 investment package is this. You want to maybe buy a car, you want to pay your rent, you want to do any major project. Those are investment packages.
Okay. All right. So let's quickly just let out your details.
NTA Road, Checkpoint Junction, Rumokote, Port Harcourt. Or you could actually 03 652 7708. Or you could actually log on to our website at www.returnsinvestmentsnigerianlimited.com. Or you could write us an email at Info all at returnsinvestmentnigerianlimited.com.
It's not enough to say that he saved up to buy those houses or to buy. Man, let me just quickly get your thoughts here so that we throw that into the opinion poll. I think I have a picture of what Fayose looked like on that day. And
That place is
that place. This is where it comes. But I'm sure I understand that restructuring is what Nigeria needs.
Because he hasn't really done anything here.
Yes.
Because
From 6 to 11 a.m. weekdays.
welcome back. 26 minutes after 9, and you're still listening to Today 95.1 FM. Let's move on now with our opinion poll. For opinion poll, we're looking at Black Man, You're on Your Own. Apparently, this is the part 2 to it in the Guardian newspaper. Black Man, You're on Your Own. And I'll just skip. There's a lot. It's a long read, so I'm going to skip some part of it and get to it much later if I can. But let me start from here. By their abject deference to the wisdoms of other land, African leaders especially, but also most Africans too, present the black race as lacking confidence in its own capabilities and even self-esteem. We are made to appear inferior. Hey, hardly see anything good in Africa. Acupuncture has been for ages an important part of traditional Chinese medical Wikipedia writes about acupuncture as considered in the West as a pseudoscience because the theories and practices of TCM, traditional Chinese medicines, are not based on scientific knowledge, and it has been characterized as quackery. But who cares? It worked and still works for them. And in the face of foreign derogatory opinions, they persist on the efficacy such that Western medicine is beginning to take Oriental prescriptions more seriously. Now, if the treaty of their person, these confident and determined people are by Korean President Kim Jong-un, dragged the U.S. president to step into the demilitarized zone of his country in June 2019 for talks. Earlier in June 2018, Mr. Trump had traveled thousands of miles across the world to meet Korean leader in Singapore. We all know corroborates that of a way that we'll find answers. And, it just comes up from a few things we mentioned earlier when we talked about the task force ruling on the steps. Yes, exactly. I said now they want to bring virologists, eminent virologists, that's how they put it there, and scientists. I agreed that these are people that we should have already gotten on a table somewhere working 24 hours trying to find a solution to what's going on. But then we've also gotten our traditional means. I mean, just yesterday, I was chatting with somebody who was talking about the SGF, who said he's going to just we want to try out what Madagascar is doing, because even the SGF said, look, in this time and age, Abalaka and all. Emmanuel, let me start with you on this here.
Sorry, what is the name of the author? It's also important to me.
Francis Onaika.
Good. Francis Onaika, you have just spoken my mind on certain issues. The fact remains that we Africans, there's no doubt about it, we lack confidence in ourselves, and perhaps if it's colonization or whatever, and we succumb very fully. You remember what Chief Okere was saying here when Lai Mohammed used briefing Trump? And it hiked him that no, it's marks of subservience. Well, that is how we have become so subservient to the Western cultures and all that, that even themselves don't accept whatever we produce. You see, Iwu has not yet Iwu's zone at all. Even if they find the efficacy of it to be something to be reckoned with, you won't hear that. Let me give you an instance. In 1986, Professor Njoku Obi of the UNN, it was tested, everything. He should be acclaimed to have developed that. But the Western world didn't accept that. They took it down to that place, and in the end, they gave the patent to either a British man or so. It is, of course, what we have made ourselves to be. Let me give you a critical example also. In my village, my own village is not another place. A certain man lived there, and he is no longer alive. He would just cut a bamboo tree, now buy a white handkerchief, whatever he put inside, only himself knows. And then he will kill a white cock, pour the blood there, and then lift it. In the house he leaves that thing, no thunder could come there. Much like you buy the one produced by Russians and Americans and others, you put on top of your house, thunder protector, and no thunder comes there. Now, because blood was poured there, people said, no, it was fetish. Now, the efficacy is relegated to the background. Not the content is now taking this. Now, you see Panadol, whatever, the ones produced by the Americans and all that. Do you know the processes it went through? No, nobody knows it, at least for a year. Nobody knows. But it cures headache, much as some herbs will cure headache. So for me, I think it's what we have owned up, relegating ourselves to the background. You saw when Abalaka came up with that, even with the testament of late Victor Malo, that it cured the soldiers that had HIV. All of them are cured, that there's no trace. Chief Obasanjo couldn't accept that, because for him, the patent and all that must come from the Western world. Until today, until court upheld Abalaka's invention and all that, Chief Obasanjo and all these people do not want Abalaka to happen. You remember Professor Ngochindu of Uniport here? They said it was concussion. Then I'm asking the question, which medicine is not concussion? All of them are concussion, because it is from the mixture which means that concussion before you can now falsify it into whatever finished product. So the Americans will always want everything to originate with them. You see the Japanese and the Asian world, like this particular writer said, they don't care about that side. The West, they don't. What they produce that solve the problem, even as it is now in my village and some other places, this coronavirus may have a cure using herbs. Once there is complete immunity in a living person, it will be very difficult for anything to break down that particular thing. And he becomes, maybe he contracts that disease or so. But those who have a tradomedical side, please come up with solution if you think you know anything. No, they will not. Because they will start checking, it has no dosage, it has no... The thing is, they tell you drink 1 tumbler, you drink it and it cures you. Is it not the end? I don't understand.
See how Bitima is looking.
That is exactly what happens. We lack confidence in ourselves. But until we stop that, I don't see us moving forward.
All right, I got your thoughts there. Obitima?
Well, I read a book years past. What is Wrong with the Black Man? By Matthew Oshomowole from this General Overseer of King's Church
Assembly.
Assembly. That book is a classic. He also brought the angle from the Bible and said that the black man appeared to be cursed, not to think strategically, not to think like others think, but intelligent. Well, the author of that piece, it just seemed obvious. It's just laughable that it is not the Minister of Health. Minister of Health will be telling us that the assembly so this thing to look at the evolution of this problem when it is even going to end very soon. Then again, when he was asked another question about the capacity personnel to do this testing, he said they are beginning to train people. Even they have told the NCDC to come to Minister of Health and take the personnel there. I was wondering, is this the Minister of Health of a nation saying this kind of things? This period? Is it only people in the Minister of Health, the staff of Minister of Health? How many of them there? We are talking of a population of nearly 200 million. And you are conducting tests. Up till now, for how many months now, you are still below 12,000. Another neighboring countries are ahead of you. You are not even saying, okay, now that the schools are also locked down, the medical students who are maybe in their final year can be trained, build capacity, have to conduct the test, mobilize them all over the states. And you are saying that they can come to Minister of Health and take some of their personnel. And I say, we are not serious. Now, the issue of you have not even started. It's not that we don't have the brain in this nation to go into that. And maybe if they have encouraged our people, who knows? This vaccine may have been discovered. We don't need, if we are getting vaccine here, developing vaccine, we don't need to send it to US. We don't need to send it to UK to verify its efficacy. First, we should use our people here to also test it. And if it is, because we don't have, even if we patent it, where is the company that can produce it in the quantity that can go around? They will still take it outside this country and produce and bring it back. What is wrong with the black man? A black man that feels that he's inferior, especially our leaders. Our leaders, when they go there, I don't know, like what Paul in writing to the Galatians said, who has bewitched you? Our leaders are bewitched. When they get into that office, they are automatically bewitched. They don't know what they are doing again. In fact, the normal human brain goes out of them. And I don't know the kind of brain they acquire that they don't see anything that will benefit the citizens of the country or do something that will enhance the welfare of the people. The coronavirus, we are neither here nor there. Who is even leading the fight? We don't know. The CBN governor is leading. The national coordinator of whatever coronavirus is leading. The presidential task force, the Dangote team, they are also speaking, they are leading. It's just here, neither here nor there. And there's no coordination. The governors are doing their own thing in their own way. You know?
Okay.
In their own way, no coordination. Now, even the state governor, I said it here last time, can't you also empower your state university, the medical and the pharmaceutical faculties, to at least let there be an attempt? That's something, let there be, the news should go out that they are developing vaccine. Even if you come out with water and show, look, this is the same we have gotten, it will add value to our nation. It will also add respect from the international community. Now, the private universities are there. In a time like this, it don't segregate. Public government should not. If they have the facility, why not give them the money? Let them also begin to do something. I don't know how we think. We depend on when they will develop. Now they've tested, last Thursday they've tested 2 persons in Oxford. I watched it over the distance. The one man and one woman that volunteered. They tested them. Here, what are we doing? We are waiting when they develop this thing, we begin to import. Or they begin to, one foundation begin to help us. Like somebody said earlier, this coronavirus has exposed the real us. The real us is now being made manifest to the whole world. That this is a country that is empty. Very empty.
All right.
You know,
We got your position on that. Chief Lovejoy Kerry, let me move on to you on that here. It just seems that today is black man bashing.
Can you remind me the name of that writer again?
Francis.
I know you can.
I want to extend my warm greetings
To Francis.
to Francis, because this write-up this morning just baptized my earlier position when we were discussing about the phone call between Trump
and the
President
president.
Buhari. As if, I don't know if it's a coincidence or something that God wanted it to happen that way, so that our listeners who may have divergent opinion over my position as a them will have a clearer view and more understanding of my position. Because I try to say this because, if you are locked inside a particular place for a very long time, you'll be cut off with information of what is happening around that environment. So when you are brought out, you will still be reasoning based on what you know about within before you were locked in and what you saw within where you are locked in. So even when somebody is trying to tell you that between so and so place and so place, Governor Mike has stopped movement on those areas, you will say it's not possible. That there is still movement. That how can they say there should be no movement there? So until you are caught on that net, you now say, okay, it's true. One problem that we have is that over 70% of Nigerians and supporters of politicians in this country have not got the privilege and opportunity of traveling outside the shore of Nigeria to know how things are done outside the country. So the little thing that they get from the politicians will influence, or let me use the word way. Let it not be as if I'm trying to remove myself from it. So the little thing we get from politicians will influence our thinking to say or try to suggest that is the normal way things are trying to be done. In fact, I describe Nigeria as a place where different kinds of risks are normalized, and we think it is okay. It is okay. Whereas 80% of things we do here are not practicable outside the country. In fact, government will not even allow it. That's why you see us struggling. We want to own the whole building on earth. You build here, build here, build here, build here. Whereas if you do so in America or London, only the tax that will be imposed on you will even make you to not to even think of owning those properties. So the best thing is for you to get one that is comfortable for you and your family, and maybe one other extra if it is possible, and life goes on. So that's why I'm thanking the writer this morning that he has just hit the nail on his head. What is wrong with Africa, man? So many things are wrong with Africa. So many things. Africa is a nation, it's a continent that was given everything, even above the West, the Westerners. I say this because there is a saying that even the so-called whatever you think of in this world began in Egypt. And where is Egypt? Egypt is in Africa. And you discover that majority of things that we do in Africa today that would have helped our existence as human beings on earth, we surrendered them in the name of civilization to the Americans and Europeans. And those things are hurting us today. The reverse today is the case. For instance, when I was small, as a baby, I can remember when I was just between 5 to 10 years old, I can remember several times I had fever, headache, even stomach issues. And my father would just go to the one side of the backyard. There's a particular tree. I wouldn't know the name in English. In my place, we call it ogrish. You go there, those who are from my place, we know what I'm talking about. You go there and just cut the part of that particular tree, and you'll be smelling it. When you inhale the smell of that particular tree for about 10 to 15 minutes, you don't have fever again.
Simple.
I'm telling you what happened.
That's very correct.
There are other leaves again that even when your temperature is very, very high, when there is convulsion, they will just carry you, rub you some of this, and they will squeeze it, rub you, put you close to the fire, to now there will be a kind of reaction between temperature to temperature that will now make you sweat. The one that is inside now will come out. You are well. Over time, we surrendered all these our traditional means of helping ourselves to the so-called Western way of treatment, which we could not be able to sustain in a way that today in this country, instead of now sustaining the civilization of treatment of different kind of illness, we now use our mentality of corruption to go and now import substandard drugs that even when you are taking it, the one person that is even not treated is better, because some of them are as good as chalk, and you are swallowing them thinking that you are trying to heal yourself, but you are worsening that kind
situation.
Of illness. That is what we have found ourselves.
One thing the writer said that is just at the back of my head is how Asia and China, regardless how their own processes were ignored by Europe and the United States at large, continued in their ways.
I'm coming there.
Okay,
I'm coming there.
All right, when you get there.
You see, because when we were discussing this morning, because sometimes, because they saw us or they see us as politicians, sometimes when you are trying to speak, the other side we see you as if you are just trying to politicize. But you are now trying to remove that cloth of politics on you, and we are now wearing that cloth of a Nigerian, that you should speak objectively, so that if things are done well, it's going to be for the betterment of everybody. That's the platform I'm speaking from now. You see, when I was speaking here, I said Trump and President Buhari had a phone conversation, which, as far as I'm concerned, is not supposed to make a news. As far as I'm concerned. Now, even when they have tried to make it to be a news, our information minister comes up on international television to say that President Buhari, in course of their discussion, tried to brief President Trump on what we are doing with COVID-19.
Dealing with COVID-19.
Thank you. And at the end of the day, the president now wish Nigerians well and now promised to send ventilators to Nigeria. It means that as President Buhari was speaking to Nigeria, he has surrendered our own effort, whatever we have done in the effort of COVID-19 as a country, that if you begin to compare us with other countries that has more death even than people that recovered, we have surrendered those efforts to Trump, whose country was unable to manage COVID-19, where more than close to 30,000 persons lost their lives. Whereas I was expecting, even at this moment, that I would hear that President Trump would have said, Mr. President, I am very impressed with the way you have handled it. What have you people done differently, so that we can also borrow a leaf from there to also administer drugs to our own persons? But because that superiority and inferiority complex that has been existing there, Trump is now coming to speak authoritatively as people whose Nigeria is under them in a way. That is where I got I wouldn't use the word angry. I didn't feel so much happy with the way the conversation went. So for me, the thing that is wrong with Africa is that we Africans have abandoned all the gifts, all the natural resources that God has given to us to exist as a people, to the Westerners who came to colonize us, try to force us. I don't want to make it look religious, because even to the extent that our own religions too, there are some existing. When our mothers were married, there was a particular tradition that they were doing, that even with ordinary this their coin, whether a shilling or whatever, that time we can walk into your neighbor's house or whomever, potential in-law, to say, this particular baby, I will marry her, or this particular woman, I will marry her. They will say, okay, do something. You drop it, that the consent between mother and the two families, marriage is there, they will join you people. Do you know that today, even when couples are done with traditional marriage, come to the public to dance, they are not certified that they have gotten married until they will go to church and do white wedding.
Yeah.
That is when they will say, we have done wedding. In fact, we will not even be issued certificates. Even after traditional marriage, that for me, as far as I'm concerned, the real marriage in African culture is traditional marriage, where the people will come out and do whatever they do with the drink and you take and exchange that verse there. That is for me the traditional marriage. But even in Africa, in Nigeria today, even after that is done, people will proceed to church to go and do white wedding. That is when they will consider themselves married. For me, we have also surrendered that aspect, that important aspect of our life to the Westerners. So this is just one example among many of what I would have bet. I don't want to make it look religious because I will begin to get some people will resist, will begin to think because we have so belief because we have so belief in whatever that will happen in as Christians or as Muslims or whatever. But those traditions that we were born to meet as a people. I don't want to also bring in the one that we are so fetish, worshiping juju or things like that.
There's a level to fetishness, I guess. There's a level to fetishness.
We have people, do you know that some people today cannot even gather in their community in the name of Christianity? They cannot even meet with some other persons in the family meeting to discuss about the welfare of the community. They will tell you that, no, I'm a Christian, I don't want to be
born again Christian.
Thank you. So, what I'm trying to say is that, let me not expand this question so much that I will deviate. But you see the writer this morning, Mr. Francis, even though the article is short, but it's so summarized that this COVID-19 has exposed Africans and especially Nigeria in a way that they could not even be able to hide some of those things that ordinarily we wouldn't understand. But there was no way, there was no escape route for them because everybody's life is in danger. So they surrender to it. Thanks to the people of Madagascar for insisting that they are going to use whatever their local herb or concoction, whatever I call it, to cure COVID-19. And I want to suggest through this medium that federal government, PTF or whomever should drop their ego, come down to the grassroots. There are so many herbalists within our communities that can bring up something that will be able to treat COVID-19.
I'll be right back.
It took your daughter to pharmacy.
Court, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Hello and good morning. Here's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Annie Abdul Salam. 3 persons are now feared dead after a fire outbreak in the Aliko Estate, Choba community in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State. The victims are a mother and her 2 children. The children who are less than 10 years old were burnt with their mother in the fire, which is suspected to have been caused by the kerosene the woman trades in. The bodies of the victims have been evacuated from the incident and reported to the Rivers State Police Command. Rivers State Governor Yusuf Wike has monitored the compliance level of the lockdown declared by the state government in parts of Obiakpo and Port Harcourt local government areas. Governor Wike also effected the arrest of 5 defaulters who violated the state government's directive. Reports say the governor drove to Elekahia and Rumo Amasi, where he observed full compliance of the lockdown with security personnel manning strategic points on the roads. Governor Wike, in an interview with newsmen, urged Rivers people to cooperate with the state government to ensure that coronavirus is kept at bay. Governor Wike had, in a statewide broadcast, declared a 24 hours lockdown on Elekaya, including the entire stretch of Rumo Kalabo Elekaya Link Road, Rumo Amasi, including Stadium Road, and Rumo Biakani. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, said Nigeria has 195 new cases of the coronavirus, bringing the total to 1,532. The 195 cases reported is the highest Nigeria has ever recorded in a day since the outbreak of the pandemic in the country. The breakdown shows 85 new cases in Lagos, 38 in Kano, 15 in Ogun, 15 in Bauchi, 11 in Borno, 10 in Gombe, 9 in Sokoto, 5 in Edo, 5 in Jigawa, 2 in Zamfara, and 1 each in Abuja, Rivers, Enugu, Delta, and Nasarawa states. It also said 4 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. Cross Rivers, Yobe, and Kogi states are yet to record any case of coronavirus. Has approved the sum of $3 billion to support help to provide financing for the country's budget, which has been severely affected by falling oil prices triggered by the pandemic and price wars. The emergency financial assistance to Nigeria is the highest so far to any member country, which came after the National Assembly gave the federal government the go-ahead to borrow $800, but also in the Middle East to help them free up funds to fight the coronavirus pandemic. And that was the news update on Today 95.1 FM. Do not forget, take responsibility. Wash your hands frequently with soap on the running water. Avoid.
My dear brothers and sisters, no be story again, no. Say coronavirus, they keep people when carry the disease. But now only person when you hide them say in carry the disease, no greater government, now in they die. Oh. So therefore, our government don't talk and say, make everybody no waka too much. Oh. No go where people plenty. Oh. They wash your hand with water when they run. To go close to person when they cough and they sneeze. All these things, if your body they hot, you get cough, catarrh, and you they feel somehow. Just come to University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. We go collect your samples for test, and we also get isolation center. Make we follow wetin this government don't talk. Stay for your house as we go soon overcome this trial time. This message now from Professor Henry Uboma, the Chief Medical Director of the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, talk am.
Health is wealth. Let's join hands together to defeat COVID-19 pandemic. Kindly adhere to the following precautionary measures to stay safe. Stay at home. Maintain social distancing. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands frequently with soap. Avoid touching your mouth, nose, and eyes, and close communication. Our safety and well-being is completely Tech Market, the broker you can trust.
All right, we're here and we're live and we are direct to you to bring you opportunities the way you have never had it before. So you know how it is that you use your WhatsApp, you use your text messaging, your chatting applications to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Well, this is an opportunity for you to make money while you're seated at home. This is Handtech Markets, and we're bringing the service, we're bringing the class, we're bringing the market, and Obi Agwonye right here to tell us about all of these things that they're offering in terms of using technology to better your life, to make your bank account always fat and shapeless. That's the whole point. And of course, we're going to get down to it. Now, what is this thing that you have been telling me about bringing the class to you, bringing the market to you? What is all that?
Okay. Good day, everyone. I'm very sure we are all aware of COVID virus pandemic is spreading, and various government has given directives that people should maintain social distancing. People should stay at home, and then because of this, we came up with this initiative where we'll take our classes from offline to online. Before people converge in our offices, in Lagos, and 20, and if it is a must. So that's why we said that, and this market is an online market. It never sleeps. People want to learn. So what we are doing now is taking a class from offline to online, whereby people can learn the same way we do in our offline class, in our offices, online, whereby they hear the facilitator or the presenter teaching, and they can do that via their phone or WhatsApp as it's connected to the internet. It's the same thing we are doing, but this time around we are making use of the internet, and it's also give opportunity for people that are not within our locations, to be part of this. So it's a very good thing for everyone. We are not just sitting there and saying Corona is killing us. We are also taking initiative to better off Corona and to defeat Corona this time around.
And make sure that your account too is coronavirus free.
Exactly.
Now, that's the part I really like about the whole thing. But then again, some people would say...
Fine. That's a very good question. We are different in the sense that we've been doing this for over 30 years. We are the oldest regulated brokerage firm we have in the country.
Wow.
We are different. That's number one. Number two, we have our staffs. They are professional. Most of us had a banking background, and most of us are also traders. Like we say, we practice what we preach. We are not, for instance, if people come to our class to learn, we show them exactly what we've done. Like, for instance, for me, I have like a 3 years, life average in a month.
Okay.
Per annum, this we can see it, and they will see the trade running on. So we are different from other people because we have the expertise, we have the qualified people who will teach, and we have a very good financial background, and we've been in the business for over 30 years.
Health is wealth. Let's join hands together to defeat COVID-19 pandemic. Kindly adhere to the following precautionary measures to stay safe. Stay at home. Maintain social distancing. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands frequently with soap. Avoid opportunity to learn a skill set that will enable you to make money through online classes. Once again, SMS your name, guide you through on how you can be connected to one of the online classes. Handtech Markets. Trust through transparency.
Okay, so what's the benefit now of trading with Handtech Markets?
Okay, now the benefit of trading with Handtech Market is that it's where you get to understand every single thing that is actually in the market. And then we run a strategy for every student that comes. We have a strategy now, like they say, that you can go through 1,000 roads, but there's just one that best works for you, him or her, to trade. Now, by strategy, I mean a strategy will provide you with the different tools, will provide you with take a lot of things into the market and increase the complexity of what you are selling so you can make profit. The whole essence is to make profit. So what we'll do, the benefit when you trade with Handtech is that we will train you in such over 30 years. Now, we know people have met with the mindset that every $1 that increases on your account, it's profit. If you put in $100 and it increases from 100 to 101, that's profit. The $1 there is profit. It's investment. We'll train you in such a way that you don't take risk. We'll trade profit. The market is volatile. If it's not volatile, what we'll do, one of the benefits is that we'll train you on how to better understand this and make really good profit for yourself.
Fantastic. Now, this sounds really good to my ears, and I don't know why you not want to take advantage of this opportunity because, like they have said, you don't really have to move out of your house. And I know a lot of people who are saying that, oh my God, a total lockdown is not in the best interest of the economy because how will I make money? The truth of the matter is this. Now, what Obi and Mike are saying is that you too can secure the bag while you're at home.
Exactly.
Right? You can secure the bag. But just before we go, I want you to run it again by us. How does one partake in this online class?
Okay, now the online class is going to be a Zoom conferencing class. By Zoom, we can all download Zoom to our phone. Now, when you have Zoom on your phone, all you just need to do right now is to send a message. Just send a message. Send your name and your location to this number 08056905612. Call the number again 08056905612. When you send your name and your location, we'll send you a link that takes you directly to the Zoom conferencing, to the online class where you can actually attend. Now, there are different levels of classes. We have the basic, we have the advanced, we have the mentorship. So we'll filter it and let you know which is best suitable for you. That after you tell us if you're coming in as a beginner, or you're coming in as an advanced, or you're coming in for mentorship. And also by mentorship, I mean people who have already been in this market and they've really not made that much profit and they're still finding it difficult to really get the hang on it. What we'll do is we'll mentor them the right way, well, with our wealth of experience, so that they can better understand the market very well. So just send your name and location to 08056905612, and then we'll take it up from there.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Obiagwanye, and of course, Mike Fope, for doing this. And I want to say this, okay? It's not difficult for you to, put those two thumbs together and do the needful by downloading the Zoom app, sending those messages that you need to send to that number. Because the truth of the matter is this: if you don't do so, who's to blame but yourself? So take advantage of this opportunity and make the most while you are sitting at home, because you too can make money off the comfort of your home. The global markets are not shut down, and the opportunities that are waiting, and Handtech Markets is willing and ready to show you those opportunities and guide you through them. Have a wonderful day, and do not touch that dial.
Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. The voice.
If you don't wake up one day and say, okay, this policy is working, and then you expect it to crash the market in the next.
There's a cassava variety that takes 7 months. Do they know it or they don't?
What's the beginning?
Because you can see they are involved.
They are involved, true.
So how can you solve it? What will stop it? They're involved. Look at 1.something billion special allowance, 1.2 billion special allowance, padding of budget, 4 billion, this billion, 400 billion. How can they stop
Hello,
it?
good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, what's your name?
Yeah, this is Mr. Zion. I'm calling you from Bukata.
All right, Zion, go ahead.
I think I totally disagree with you, man.
Today's Quests with Annie.
Opinion poll on today's quest.
More than 3 over 4 of the loots we are talking about in this country today were loots within the 16 years.
Here is a great opportunity to sample all our opinions on the issues raised.
Amin Potakat says the PDP is trying to divert our attention because Nigerian funds was looted by the PDP. Melody in Uniport says Madam Jonah is yet to come in terms of the fact that her tenure has expired. Annie, please tell him that investigation is not what you make public until the final stage.
Send your opinion to us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Today 95.1 FM, or on Twitter @TodayFM951. You can also sample your opinions with us on WhatsApp or on our SMS portal using the numbers 070-1933-9962. All right, welcome back. It's 20 minutes after 10. You're still listening to Today 95.1 FM. And before we went on that break, for opinion poll, we're looking at a column in the Guardian newspaper, an opinion, and a columnist was Francis Onayekon. He was talking about black man, you're on your own. Apparently, this is the part 2 because it was continued from yesterday. And he mentioned here the confounding challenge COVID-19 poses to human ingenuity necessitates that even as the rest of the world searches for a cure in their different ways, Africa must muster the confidence to develop and test its own remedy too. There cannot be anything wrong with a multi-pronged approach to an existential danger to human society. No person or race possesses a monopoly of knowledge to solve the myriad of problems of mankind. Not one. And this is not even about competition to be the first search for an antidote to COVID-19. As the Yoruba would say, it does not matter who kills the snake. What matters is the snake is killed and danger averted. Madagascar had lately been reportedly launched a herbal medicine that serves both preventive and curative purposes. COVID organics were developed by the Malagasy Institute of Applied Research, and according to the country's president, Andre Rogelena, all trials and tests have been conducted and its effectiveness in reducing the elimination of symptoms have been proven for the treatment of patients with COVID-19 in Madagascar. The WHO is said to say of Madagascar's medicine that it does not recommend self-medication, with medications not scientifically proven. Proven by who, how, and where? But of course, note that this is not a black African nation. It is going ahead to test its own medication. As I stated above, all hands must be on deck in the search for a solution. So WHO, truly interested to save life, will contact Madagascar to explore that option, not sit at its headquarters and issue press statements. COVID-19 is forcing us to reinvent our ways of life. Imagine friends, neighbors, even couples cannot meet and hug each other as they used to. It is a paradox of paradoxes that to keep a social distance from loved ones has become an act of love. Even nature and the meaning of work is fast changing. For those who still have work to do, economies are spiraling downwards and self-protection is dangerously toppling the scale of human values. The haves are crying and afraid at the possible fallback among the have-nots. If therefore medical salvation for the world comes from Africa, it is just as well. The findings of our local researcher may be a step to the fulfillment of the black man's global impact. Who knows? So instead of living in self-abnegating comfort zone, African leaders must do whatever possible to bring this to pass. On the live discussion of COVID-19 on ITV and Nigerian private television, 2 professors, Cyril Otoikan and Josiah Adejene, have raised intelligent questions on the analysis, the nature, as well as the treatment procedure of the disease as narrated to the public. Professor Otaika even asserted that, as explained, the widely touted explanations fail all scientific principles in terms of disease classification. This discussion has been on social media for at least a week. Why will government of Nigeria not facilitate a technical interrogation of their postulations? And if this is being done, Nigerians want to know. So pretty much, writer is hammering on how the black man falls back on the reliance of Caucasians, pretty much, to give them a go-ahead on any venture. And we've seen that playing out with COVID-19 yet again. Seems that regardless what remedies we find within our enclaves, we'll have to wait for a nod from the WHO, from Europeans, from Caucasians, that it is something that should be consumed. And if you look at it, I mean, there's so much that we have allowed Western influence, so to say, take away from us. And if you really begin to question how much of that is really bad. All right, so let me get to Dr. Emmanuel Wona, who's joining us now. He's a lecturer, Department of Political Science, University of Port Harcourt. Good to have you here with us, Dr. Wona.
Thank you very much, Annie.
All right, go ahead.
In fact, when I walked into the studio, I listened quietly to what my colleagues were saying. And I was just wondering, the first thing that came into my mind was that first, the COVID-19 pandemic seems to reinforce our belief, those of us in the social sciences, about the ruggedness of capitalism as a mode of production. That's a discussion for another day. But you see, Annie, when you also consider the fact that when you have a people, the people also has identity. And that identity is rooted in the culture of the people. So culture is an identity of a people. And that culture also explains the entirety of life standard of a people.
Yeah.
And of course, if you also consider the fact that, for every society to move forward, there is need for research and development. There is need for research. There is need for inquest into societal problems and see how solutions can be provided. And that's also reinforces the fact that there is need for proactivity. I mean, you need to be proactive. You need to be fit of the attributes of good leadership. So a leader must be able to ensure that, look, you project, you think futuristically, and so you begin to see how you can begin to, provide solution. But unfortunately, in this part of the globe, we don't have that kind of mentality. We don't have that kind of, futuristic analysis. If you look at what is happening today in terms of research, we're nowhere. Look at what is happening to educational institutions. Look at what is happening to facilitators. Except lecturers or teachers ask for something, nobody gives them. These are facilitators. These are the people that are supposed to, make use of their knowledge and bring it to bear. If you have knowledge and you don't apply it, there will be no wisdom. Application of knowledge is wisdom. So if you have, teachers, professors, those who are in academics, who are supposed to be applying their knowledge acquired over time, and they are not doing it, how do you expect the society to move forward? I give you an instance, and I think I've given this before. I want to repeat it now. We had reason palm oil here, and Malaysians just came in here, understudied the process, and went back home and put into practice. Malaysia is now about the second or even the first exporter of palm oil. Palm oil. That is the beauty of research. If you don't apply research, then there will be no development. And for us, in this acquisition of knowledge and skills, if you don't have people with the right skills and knowledge, and who are society even begin to retrogress, because we believe that nothing is permanent except change. But that change that cannot just come to you like that.
No.
Something must be put in place to bring about the result change in the society. But unfortunately, we don't do that in this part of the globe. And this is what is even, plaguing movement. You are talking about the culture of the people. Claudaki of blessed memory did a work where he said that Africans need to, indulge on what he called endogenous development paradigm. That means Africans need to look inwards, for that is where development lies. And for you to look inwards, you must adopt research. You must begin to ask fundamental questions about the life of a people. Where are we coming from? Where are we now? And where do we want to be in the nearest future? We don't seem to ask these questions. And so, the weight of colonialism and all those imperialistic manipulation is heavy on us. Recall that when the colonial masters were here, what did they do? And that's why it is important for people to understand the importance of the ideology and psychology of the people, the ideological disposition of the people. What they did was to arrest our psyche by trying to make us know that what you are producing, all those things you are eating, they are not food for human beings. They made us believe that, look, if you can take a sealord or schnapp, rather than take local gin, and they succeeded in the process of acculturation. They succeeded. And when they succeeded, it was easy for them to manipulate us. And I think that is what is also playing out even at this moment. We are still, not being extricated from the leather clutches of such manipulation. Our ideological manipulations, our ideological disposition have been manipulated, trapped in that kind of imperialistic manipulation. That is that web of manipulation from the West. And that's why you see what is playing out now. I was thinking that at this, would have been thinking inwards on what should we do. I was thinking that Nigerians will now say, okay, let our scientists, let our professors come together. What do we do? Put your heads together and see what we can do. But we cannot do that. because already foundation is faulty. Foundation is very, very faulty. We cannot do that because we don't realize the importance of research. Look at the educational institution, where, of course, most Western countries depend on academics at this point in time. These are the people that will sit down and carry out researches and begin to find out causes and, of course, the solution to this pandemic. But we don't have it. If not for this coronavirus, of course, at the wake of the lockdown of all the institutions, we as members had the class strike because of lingering issues. Over what? You have signed an agreement with the people and you don't want to live up to that. You don't want to fulfill your own part of the agreement. And these are the people that are supposed to, at this point in time, to put their heads together, mobilize them, go to their labs, go to your labs. We are giving you this amount of, see what you can do. But because they have failed, government has failed in its responsibilities. And that's why they cannot do it. And so if you look at the entirety of African setting, one of my colleagues was talking about culture. Yes, culture. We need to depend on our culture. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, it's not all the culture will be acceptable.
Obviously.
Because culture is relative and culture is dynamic. There's nothing wrong if you see what I am doing right and you know it is right and you can apply it. Apply it and domesticate it in a way that it will also serve the interests of that environment. Environment is specific. No two environments or societies are exactly the same. So if you see what society A is doing and you think it's good, nothing stops you from adopting it and domesticating it to serve the interests of your people. Nothing stops you. But when you begin to copycat, you copy everything, you wholeheartedly depend. And I'm sure Nigeria is depending on when maybe USA or Italy or France will come up with something. And then we begin to say, okay, let's import. Importation will add to unfavorable balance of payment, unfavorable balance of trade. When you have unfavorable balance of trade, you will have unfavorable balance of payment. And it's going to affect drastically national income. And when national income is affected, it's going to affect the living standard, the disposable income to each person. And when that is done, of course, the standard of living. And of course, generally, it will affect the economy. So what are we doing here as a people? I don't understand. Just because President Trump had a discussion, phone call discussion with President Muhammad Buhari, is making news. I quite agree with Chief when he said that it's not supposed to even make news. Why? Because it appears our whole life is dependent on somebody or people outside the shores of this country.
But hold on, I think that would be unfair to think, because even in the United States, when he make phone calls to international partners, it's news for them. There, they talk about it.
It must be news.
They talk about it. The President Trump was on the phone with the Mexican president. Trump was on the phone with the Canadian president. Trump, they talk about it too.
Well,
so that we talked about it here, I don't think it's much of an issue. It was because he said brief. That brief, he said the brief was as if we're subservient to them.
I agree. I'm talking about the issue at stake. The fact that he had decided to give us ventilators. And yes, and what are we doing? I recall, and that of course is also based on who is the leader. I recall that when we had a Ebola outbreak, or that should be epidemic now. It didn't get up to pandemic. I remember that some personnel from Western country came here to ask Nigeria, how did you people do it?
America.
America. The same America. How did you people do it? I mean, we are dying under the weight of this virus, but you people seem not to do that. You didn't have the weight as we had it. So, leadership, visionary leadership. You should be able to do things at the right time. You don't wait until the water gets to your neck before you begin to do something. So the point is that we are still under the yoke of cultural imperialism. And until we begin to understand as a people that we have identity, we have the culture that identifies us. We have what it takes to live as a people. Look at, when we are talking about civilization, civilization even started in Africa. The white people came here if you go to museum in some of these Western countries, you still see African artifacts there. Why did they think that? Because they have seen something in it. It's even serving a source of tourism. They are using what we have made, as a source of tourism for themselves there. And they are making money. And this is the thing we would have used for ourselves to even improve our living condition and extra foreign exchange for ourselves. But because of lack of visionary leadership, because we don't understand the importance of human being in the development process, we don't. Development is not about, what we call artifacts. It's not about roads, good network of roads. Even at that, we don't even have it. It's not about steady power supply. Development is about the human beings. I mean, the cultivated human beings. Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about the cultivated human beings. It's not about, skyscraper. It's about human beings. And if you ignore the importance of human beings in the development process, which means you are paying lip service to development. And that's where we are.
It just seems as if we never really wanted to understand who we are, what we are.
Exactly.
And we were just happy to just shift everything concerning us to the back.
Exactly. We are unable to break that jinx of cultural imperialism. And when that happens, of course, what it means is that we are throwing development to the winds. All we are doing is just, paying lip service to development. And we have said this time without number. The earlier we understand the role human beings play in the development process, the better for us. And the earlier we also understand the importance of research, which also means that before that research is being taken
I think that's where the problem lies.
Yeah,
the importance of research. We don't. Why are we researching? For us, it's just as if it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time. That's what it means, and that's where we are now. What stops us? Okay, look at. We are talking about herbs. We are talking about herbs. What stops our botanists? We have a good number of them.
Yes.
Plant scientists. They are all there. What are they doing? And it's because we have placed unnecessary emphasis on some professional courses. I mean, I was telling somebody the other day that, look, this COVID-19 something is trying to revive some courses that we tend to downplay. The usual thing here is that if you are going to study microbiology, botany, and Nigerians will and African Nigerians say, what is it?
Why can't you just read medicine?
Why don't you, some parents will say, but don't study medicine, don't study this. But you can see with this COVID-19, medicine is almost not very able, except you identify the root cause. Because for you to even apply the right therapy,
you must know what you're doing. You must know what you're doing.
Understand the life cycle of the virus. You need to understand. And if you don't have the personnel or what it takes to do that, you are helpless. That's the situation we find ourselves.
And there are too many homes. A local government to say, you know what, with local government, you should know what's predominant within this. We will, experiment. It's acceptable for all. But it's always something that is left for a family to push.
Exactly.
It's your personal fight.
Yeah.
There's no backing coming from government or any research institute that will even hear and say, okay, as a research institute, we're interested in that tree that you mentioned. So this is our leverage that we're bringing forward. It's always just you, a single individual who has to fight all the systems.
Exactly. And let me also, Chief gave a typical example about curative herbs in the. When we were also very small, we used to have what the leaf called awolowo. I don't know what they call it in English. If you just have a cut, all you need to do is just go there,
squeeze it,
turn the spear, squeeze it, and let the juice drop on that. That's all. Sometimes you even have extra paper. Yes. It's normal. But what's happening now? Again, to compound the problem, it's also the fact that in as much as these things are, actually effective, we also have environmental factor playing in terms of, we don't even have I can count how many forests or bushes we have now. The last time I went to my village, is increase in population. One, we had also expected that government should also get some reserved areas where you have some of these plants.
Because some of these plants are gone. They will never be found again.
So these plants are gone.
If you don't know them, what will you replant?
We need to. That's what. Sorry, sir.
I hope you know that some plants are also extinct, not just animals.
Most of them have gone.
I haven't to see the Awolowo I was
Very
talking
difficult to
about.
trace some of them again now.
Yes.
I haven't
No, they are there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Emma just told me that we have Awolowo outside the gate.
No,
I need to see Awolowo.
How do we now, like we are saying family, family this say, these leaders are not from family. Do they not know these things? The only problem is that we have not really gotten thinkers that should be in position of leadership. We also have not also gotten those who have this requisite conceptual ability to also be in leadership position. You know, because these are the people who will say, yes, I know that this thing exists. This is a research institute. Go into this. Encourage them. In fact, research is about money. It's not about that you know it. It's that money to develop, to start the process and to run the process and get an outcome. That's research. It may take time. Like one of these, what they call it, stem cell, whatever they are selling.
All the supplements that are coming from China.
25,000 now. I heard that it's 25 years for that man to come out with the final product of that thing. But we want to put in money and see that if the lecturers or the people, the scientists are not coming up with results in 1 month, we get tired.
You know,
we abandon it. Nobody encourages them again.
Yeah, okay.
We have both needs almost everywhere. But the problem is that I'm answering the question Dr. Warner asked, what are they doing? What they are doing is that if they come up today and say, look at my invention, it's going to cure this, government at the center will tell them that thing is a concoction. It's not following scientific methodology. I tell you. And once you say that, it dampens the morale of that particular person because he knows, I have told people, efficacy is the watchword. Now, if you are looking for the scientific methods, it cannot be as the Western world invented issues. No, it can't. There are ways that these are our own go. I remember vividly, whether in the 60s or 70s, early 70s, when we had what they call Demian Anyanwu invented radium Mbise in this country. And the federal authorities, good. Well, federal authorities came down, looked at the whole thing, and said, no, but it's not scientific. What can be more scientific than what he invented? When you have charcoal, whatever Demian Anyanwu did, he alone knows. You have charcoal in a clay pot and all that. You use the same wire produced by the Western world. Now, connected. And then the roots, pure raw roots in that particular place, you put the charcoal. And whatever you said is your own. You connected it and light shone. And then radio, you started tuning and the transmission was everywhere. They said, no, there is not scientifically proven. Then Anyanwu told them that he used the names of ancient fathers. You see it? And so what they wanted to know is that how did you connect this and then what made this thing react? Don't jump at that level first. First of all, invite the person and say it's a good invention. You are listening to radio. The signals are there. From as you continue, even you can join with the research Dr. Warner is talking until a time that you will be able to separate whatever. But here, no, it's concussion. Don't touch about. Do you know how they do it there before they come up? That is one thing.
Exactly.
Sorry. And you see, our problem is that we have lost that confidence in ourselves.
In ourselves, of course.
To actually take risk because life itself is a risk. Because if we try to have confidence to say, let's do this, no matter the risk, we can make mistakes and correct our mistakes. Yes. Then we forge ahead. We become inventors of something that the other part of the world can come to us and we become exporters of such products and services. That is what is lacking here. I want to give you a typical example of what is happening. There was a time Nigeria exported yams to America, something like that.
And they were returned.
And they said it didn't meet standard.
Yeah.
The same Americans, the same Americans will also go and grind the yam, whatever, and bring it to us as flours. Now, and they will tell us to show us how to use hot water to prepare and eat. We will say, hey, it's America, we'll begin to eat it. The same yam that we produce here. The difference is that they have grounded their own with a kind of machine. And our own here, we can comfortably boil the yam, use a very clean water and pound it, and it is the same product. We'll eat it, and even more naturally without any form of preservation on it. You know, so you discover also that here, especially within my locality, the way they were producing this fufu that is everywhere now, they will pound it 2 or 3 times in a mortar, come out, and it is perfect. Today, it is being processed in a different way. They will not grind it, you know, perhaps to reduce the aroma of the fufu kind of the cassava. So it said, so if we had, you know, improved on these things over time and make it a major activity of a people of a party, believe me, you that it would have served as a way of improving those people's economy. It would have been generating income to them. But the issue here is that because of the attitude of our government, who try to abandon people the way they are, so wherever you are, you say like that, everybody wants to be a politician now because the government is not helping the people to improve on what they are doing traditionally. Now, people are now abandoning that their God-given talents, trying to go for what we call white-collar job or activities. Now, the politics cannot also contain all of us because the positions are not there to employ everybody to be politicians. Now, they are helpless because if I, as a person, am a herbalist and I'm able to, you know, develop a particular herb that can comfortably cure any kind of some what do you call it? Some diseases that, you know, is contacted, kind of, and the person is able to, because whether I like it or not, if the Nigerians have depended on drugs approved by World Health Organization, would have all died. Majority of Nigerians would have died. But so many sicknesses have been cured by herbalists today, including hepatitis, tuberculosis. So, but our Nigerian people are not looking inwards into this thing to say, how do we harness this activity?
Which governor was it? Oyo that was mentioned that
it was Cross River. It was Cross River.
Oyo said he took
cucumber.
Yeah.
And to the extent that, sorry, let me round up.
Carrot.
To the extent that at a particular time in 2018, when the issue of oil bunkering activity was so high, Nigeria said, okay, we are going to introduce a modular refineries to cure that. It has been abandoned today because we do not have belief in all that. With what these boys are doing locally, using firewood and a drum to cook this crude oil that they will steal, and they will get petrol, get engine oil. This same group of persons can also be gathered and maybe whatever modern refinery established for them, so that we can now have a decent society. Our Nigerians are not also thinking of that nature. But we are living in a time bomb that may explode one day and everybody will be affected.
Annie, let me quickly reiterate the fact that we are simply victims of cultural imperialism. And of course, the Western countries have used that perpetually on us just to exploit through neo-colonial manipulation to exploit us. And that's what they are doing. And that's what is also playing out up to this moment. When Emma was talking about science, and I was just wondering, what is science in the first place? What is science? Science has some characteristics which does not know bound. It cuts across all societies. Specificity, accuracy, universality, and result-oriented. So if you apply something within your enclave and you're getting the desired result, what is the issue about science?
Exactly.
Come to think of it. Some of these,
why must science be the qualifier?
Exactly. And then why is it that we are not part of the science? Why should
in any which case?
Exactly. Why should we be distant from science? As if science belongs to one particular society. If you don't belong to this society, don't talk about science. I mean, that is wrong. If we have, look, I told us that before the advent of the colonial masters, we are producing local gene. How did we do it? That was our technology.
Yeah.
That was our technology.
Yes.
And of course, the white didn't know that technology.
No,
they didn't know it.
Even up to today.
If
they
they were to come and study, it would have been science. They would say, okay, we would have asked them to adopt scientific measures. Otherwise, we won't consume your snaps. We're supposed to say that. Except you adopt a process of boiling this and doing it in this way. We will not consume, except you adopt this scientific method, we are not going to consume your sea law.
Even the wine.
But because they were able to manipulate us, they were able to arrest our psyche and ideology. They can now remote control us like robots. That's what they did. I mean, why didn't they also copy that our own method? But you know what they did? They said, well, this your local gene is not for human beings. It's for animals. Instead of consuming local genes, why not consume sea lord? Meanwhile, the primary product of sea lord is manipulation, capitalist tendencies. And that's what I see in the manifest of this COVID-19. Believe you me, the truth will unravel. We begin to see that there are capitalist tendencies in the outbreak of this COVID-19. Of course, you know that capitalism emphasizes on individualism, rugged individualism. Yeah. Possibly that's why I can't come close to you. Coronavirus avoids, me coming close to you. We can't shake hands. We can't shake. Stay in your house. Don't go to anybody. Don't see anybody. Distance. Don't see anybody. Because maybe from that alone, you can individually be manipulated. Our people used to say, unity is what?
Strength.
So, but when the unity is broken, there's no strength again. It's part of the capitalist manipulation. And of course, you know that capitalism is always improving and generating, changing its shapes, changing its form, but the content is the same. Where initially we talked about colonialism, all those, trade contacts, slave trade, legitimate trade, from there to colonialism to neocolonialism to globalization. Maybe the COVID-19 is also going to bring another form of capitalist global manipulation. I'm not sure, but I'm just thinking.
No,
but I know that the truth will unravel. The truth will come out. So the point is this: if as a people you don't look inwards, I mean, you are just like a plane or aircraft without compass. It's like a rudderless ship. That's what we are. And I remember that René Descartes said, "Cogito ergo sum." I think, therefore, I am. If as a people we don't think inwards, we don't reflect on issues within our society and see how we can provide solutions, then we are like robots in the hands of all those who think, those who are thinking for us. If somebody is thinking for you, what it means that your life is also dependent on that person. Other people are thinking for us. We are not thinking for ourselves. And again, Socrates also said it. He said, the unexamined life is not worthy to live. Man, know thyself. We don't know ourselves. So that's why anybody can push us. That's why we are waiting for America or Italy or any other person to do something before we can. I mean, when I heard about Trump's donation, I felt that, well, this man has a good heart. You can imagine what is bedeviling America.
His own nation.
And yet he's still wanting to extend the hand of fellowship to Nigeria. Good one. Beautiful. But again, I was also thinking from the eye of a political scientist. That could be another form of diplomacy. Because of what China is trying to do. Because of what China is doing.
You are very correct.
That is so he needs to do that, even in the face of all those tribulations in his own country. But what are we talking about? What effort? I was thinking that by now, Nigerian government would have said, okay, let's look inwards and see what we are going to do. Let's try our people. Somebody said, we're sitting in one of the states in Western country, that they have something that they need to cure. I was surprised that one of those committee members, COVID-19 committee, just dismissed the thing with a wave of hand. I mean, just like that. What does it take for people to come together and begin to reason? Bible says, come together, let us reason together. We are talking about, at a point I was afraid, and I was saying that, look, if it is the issue of spread, forget it all. In fact, the virus is even in the communities.
Yes.
Forget about the spread. We are just doing. Forget. It's just that God should intervene, because if in Nigeria, forget about spread. If you can stop market, they have top market everywhere. Yesterday I was driving home. I saw people moving, interacting. Even people are just. So I was thinking, is it only in the market that is it only in the market?
You know
that the virus can
the current trend. They will abandon the market. When you go to the market, you won't see anything going on.
Just go
the opposite street of the market, you see the market.
But the point there is that Julius Berger is working.
No, that's a different.
No, it's not different.
No, it's different.
Why?
There is no crowd. Are they crowded?
What are you talking about?
Are they crowded?
When they are up there, they are. Have you seen them in
No,
I'm coming. That's my route.
Julius Berger should walk.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about crowd here.
Essential service. How essential is that?
No, it is.
Done. What I will buy in the market.
It's Julius Berger producing what you buy, what you eat in the market.
You see, let me tell you.
Do you understand what he has? The question is crucial. What you buy in the market
is not essential services.
Yes. So the point is,
it's just like government said all workers are essential.
They're essential because
Julius Berger is essential, but market is also essential.
So the point there
for the survival of the people.
Initially, we had the state governors say that they will create markets. We thought they would go to schools and all those things. Now the schools are locked down. Now you don't want the market to anywhere they are not selling. You lock that area down. Then how do you want the people to survive? You see, it's not what is happening. They don't even watch television again.
Compare the essential nature of both ways.
Yeah?
The market takes precedence.
In fact, those people, let me tell you, those people you are looking at, they are not even the main carriers.
Yeah.
They are not even the main carriers of these local women. No. The people that even carry this thing, that socialize, that go to.
But we've already mentioned the fact that we must have moved on to community transmission now.
Exactly.
And if we're in community transmission,
that's
anybody and everybody is a carrier.
The worst case scenario
can be a carrier. I mean,
no, I will not because see,
that's why I say can be. I qualified it. I say can. You drink charcoal.
Yes. That's the
Look, see, let me tell you.
Because you drink charcoal.
That's the truth.
When I work for you and not, you don't work for another person.
That's the science.
Yeah,
we say we need to.
You ask a doctor. I buy it from pharmacy.
You see, that's why paracetamol, regardless who it will work for.
That's the universality.
Exactly. That's the universality of science.
When you say the doctor will say that nothing wrong with charcoal boys for poison. It's malaria and the typhoid not poison to the body.
Let's not go into that. That one is pure medical. So let's not go into.
What we are saying is this. Let our leaders, like he rightly said, mobilize. We need to mobilize thinkers this time.
Exactly.
No, but you see, hold on. You know what hurts me is the way we say we need to mobilize thinkers. We need, and I see other worlds where thinkers don't need a pushing per se.
They need.
Hold on.
The encouragement which comes by way of funding.
The thinkers don't need that sort of pushing as we seem to always clamor for here. You see thinkers who will continue with their. We've seen a few like Abalaka, regardless what he was facing, he continued with what he believed he needed to do.
Because he had the financial muscle.
That's what I'm saying here. That these few people, like the ones who have certain knowledge over certain things or who think that they have a solution, what stopped them from harnessing the strength of the people around them who believe them in pushing that forward? It's just for because that knowledge usually is just for immediate gains. Who knows who's going to buy the product right now, right here?
And sometimes
what answers that thing is also and
and sometimes such motivation can be asphyxiated by the environment. The environment, government may not, or if he succeeds in what he's doing, government can decide to come up with a law. That look, everything that this man is doing is illegal. And so if you continue to do that, you will be arrested and prosecuted.
Yeah, but like we said, we saw a few people who were persistent in this. One person still comes to mind. It was recently that the courts now granted Abalaka and said, look, what he's doing he should be allowed to do what he's doing.
After protracted court.
I'm saying that, but you have to go through this process. Are we going to remain in the shackles and say, look, we know if we try to break it, eventually you'll catch us 5 years later and put the shackles on and remain there perpetually, hoping that someday they'll have a change of heart and then remove us from these shackles? When we see that the government is not interested,
that's what you are talking about. Leadership.
You know that we are under authority.
and disinfectants and sunlight.
Wait, the system on the use of chloroquine.
No, he won't hear that one.
But the point there is this: are they using it now? They're using it.
Are they?
Yes, they are using it.
I don't know that they are using it.
The issue of effectivity, we have not had that.
I don't know that they are using chloroquine in US.
Yes,
no.
Excuse me.
They've come several times to even debunk that. They said that it was in trial. That's what they were going to do, but they didn't say they were using it to cure.
That was trial.
But they've not even started using it as a product to cure. No, they're not using it to cure. As in, okay, this is what we're using to cure COVID-19.
Professor Maurice Iwu came out with a compound. Even went and presented it, I think, to the Minister of Science and Technology.
Yeah, Science and Technology.
You know, he said to develop it further. He didn't say that it's a cure.
Yeah, he didn't.
Now they took that into US. What stops our government to mobilize the scientists, the researchers, work further on this thing? Let us see. Put money. Let us see. Now they are not going to take 3.4 billion naira from IMF.
Right.
Not even tell us the reason why they are taking that amount.
IMF did. I think I read up a bit about it. They said part of that money also be used for the budget, and so
for the IMF
part of it, yes, the IMF part of it. I read it up. Part of it also be used for the budget. So they'll use part of it for the budget. They'll use the 850 for the budget, and the rest they will run and take care of us during this pandemic period.
I hope the federal authorities know the road we are heading, because when a country will be making their budget and then borrowing money to sponsor it. Oh my God.
The plan was not to borrow this much to sponsor it, right? Yes. But we now saw what happened with the crude oil. I mean, crude oil is pretty much... I was reading up on somebody's post and says oil tankers are all over, dotted all over the oceans of the world, because they're using them as storage facilities now. So the normal storage facilities we have are overflowing. So you have to have cargo ships as storage facilities now. So there's really nowhere to put the oil now. So you can imagine what that means for us as a country. We're at 90% dependent on petrodollar. If we're unable to get that, we must go a borrowing. I'm not saying, I'm not absolving them I'm just saying that unfortunately this is where we are.
That's why.
And then this is why we have to take the loans that we're taking now.
Even prior to the outbreak of this COVID-19 pandemic, our budget is such a budget that is externally sourced. 90%, even before the COVID-19.
No, not 90%.
Okay, I don't know if it's specifically the percentage. But it's on the high side.
I can't speak to three people at the same time.
Okay, but I may not be correct with the exact. I may not be correct with the exact percentage, but I think it's on the high side, where that kind of percentage is externally sourced. And what is the fate of a people, of a country, where you have your budget depending externally? And I'm not even talking about the implications of borrowing, maybe from such an imperialistic and populist institution like IMF, which of course has the conditions attached. We understand the implications of that. And when you also begin to juxtapose that with the COVID-19, I just weep for this country. Because we had the opportunity. In fact, we have the opportunity as a people. This government came on board and was talking about diversification. We came up with agricultural policy program, but we are going to do that. I'm not too sure that any of these things have been put in place.
Including the refineries.
They've not been put in place. But you have a government, you have leaders who are always begging cap in hand. They're always begging cap in hand. How can you be independent when you are always begging cap in hand? And to worsen the matter is the fact that when this money is borrowed, we have our leaders in the National Assembly or those who want to buy cars for 50 million. They want to buy cars. If you borrow money, there's nothing wrong in borrowing, but if you borrow, that money should be put in productive venture that can have multiplier effects.
Yes.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. I don't know whether
that pretty much
maybe
can take care of the loan itself.
Exactly.
That's what you want to
So
make sure you're
beautiful.
service the loan.
I don't know whether maybe I suggest that our leaders should take a course in political economy.
No, but
hold on.
I doubt if
I'm just
doubt,
suggesting.
No, well, I doubt if they don't know these
have
things.
economic
No, I'm
team
sure
on.
they
I know they
know.
know.
I'm sure they know
They
these
know.
things. And sometimes you need to go into manufacturing.
That's right.
But perhaps the roads that would need access to these areas might be a priority too. And they'll say, okay, good. So let's get the roads first of all that would take us to this point. But I think when we even spoke about this, we said, well, there are ways you could, build these roads where we don't have to borrow that much. And when people who are applying the road will pay for the road so that the burden is not on the government, as it were. Or you enter into a PPP. If you're bringing 50% funding, some other private concession is bringing funding. You build the road as you want, and then maybe you toll that road, and then for the next 30 years, the money goes back to the private concession, and then finally back to government, so that you're not heavily relying on loans all the time for some of these projects, and we can focus more on the deliverables like manufacturing, where you know that every money going in there will help service the loan eventually in the long run. But I want to believe that they're getting this sort of advice. Really, it's not people, men and women like me, that will know this, and you think those in authority don't have an understanding. I think that when you're with the challenges that office
in economics, generally that human wants are unlimited, but the resources to satisfy them are limited. And of course, that creates economic problem. And it is this economic problem that economists have been trying to solve. And what did they say? That means you outline your costs in their order of priority and begin to satisfy them in that order, so that you'll be able to also use the scarce resources maximally and optimally to satisfy your wants, because you already know that the human wants are unlimited and resources are scarce. So there is that asymmetrical relationship between your wants and the resources to satisfy them. So every conscious human being must understand that first. But in a situation where you begin to misplace priority, for instance, if you are talking about road, this Element Refinery Road, which plays a very important role in the economy. Now that we are talking about oil,
So bad.
it's so bad up to this moment. I can't believe it. Tanker drivers have been crying every day.
All right.
But that road is still bad. So what's the sense of the road?
All right.
Misplacement of priority.
Who got your thoughts on? You were trying to say something.
Yes, I was trying to say something, but it's like Doctor have stolen the show with his vital and important issues dosing out. So it's very interesting.
Okay.
So, but the issue, the question I was trying to ask you that time was, what if? I don't want to say God forbid, because anything can happen now. What if, perhaps in the next 6 months, there's a complete shutdown that we cannot even sell our oil at all, at all, for 6 good months. Nobody buys the oil. We can't sell it. Are we going to die?
No, I think what we'll just do is that we'll leverage on our excess. No. You know, you have your excess crude account.
How much is there?
You have.
Okay.
Over time, you're exhausted.
That's what I'm saying. But you do have. Hold on. There is. Why are you lying? This smart lie. No, it's not.
It's less than $1 billion.
No, that's not true.
Excess crude account. Yes. Sovereign wealth.
Sovereign wealth. Sorry, not excess crude. Sovereign wealth.
So it cannot also be exhausted.
No, I'm saying it can't be exhausted. You said what will we do in the next 6 months? The reason why they're even going for this loan now, this IMF loan, is because they don't want to take too much from the sovereign wealth account.
How much is it?
Because that is what shows up your naira
Research.
How much is even they sit and
It's
can
about
calculate
$1
it?
billion. Why Norway? It's $500 billion.
And you know
How
my
can you say
prayer.
it's $1 billion?
You know my prayer.
You see the way you come up. No, it is not. On your
What they added to that thing was $500 million.
Obidima.
As at
Which account are you talking about?
2016.
Which account are you talking about?
Oh, sovereign wealth. It was $1 billion.
All right, let me get back to you. Sorry.
Yes.
Obidima, please allow Lovely to
allow
speak.
me to. So why I ask this question is because I'm still believing that we have a lot to offer to ourselves as a nation, even without selling the oil. Because even me as an individual, or to every individual, it is when you are lacking money, when there is no money in your pocket, that your head will begin to think very, very well to begin to see how you can raise funds for yourself. So if you allow yourself, if not for what, I will pray that anything that will make this oil not to be sold for even the next 1 year should happen in this country.
Exactly.
So that we can begin to think well.
Exactly.
So many persons will run away from politics. We will go back, excuse me,
Exactly.
we will go back to our thinking cap, to where our thinking caps. Remember our agriculture. We remember so many things, even all these herbalists, they will come up with
necessity is the mother of invention.
Who is all these herbalists? Am I?
Agriculture when the Fulani herdsmen have invaded the whole country.
Even the herdsmen will even think of more production through the rearing of their cows.
They are talking of occupation, not even.
Obidima, could you allow Chief Love to finish?
So for me, I may even pray. It's not a bad prayer that in the next 1 year, oil should not be. In fact, everything that Pastor oil should crumble. Let the whole thing be in the reservoir for the next 1 year, so that we will not begin to harness other natural resources that can better our lot in this country. Good. That is my submission.
I support.
Nobody said amen to that prayer.
All right. All right, let me open the phone lines now. We have we've gotten all the questions that we needed to sort out. It's already 14 minutes after 11. The numbers to dial are 0810-951-0951 or 0817-0000-951. These are the numbers that you need to dial. Or send us text messages. Send them to 07019339962. Now, the issue we spoke about black man. It says you're on your own. That's what the title of that says. Black man, you're on your own. Pretty much asking the black man, this COVID-19 era should be an eye-opener as to how much we rely on the Western world for pretty much everything. And why do we think that we are not empowered to take charge? Why do we think that we are inferior to the Caucasians? And the writer mentioned the fact that for Asia, they stuck to what they wanted to believe. It was acupuncture. They believed it had its healing ways, and they stuck to it. And now, even in Orthodox hospitals, you find them offering acupuncture. Oh, we can't get this, but maybe you could try an acupuncturist office and see if you can get this sorted out. So it is something that has found its way into that mainstream, regardless the opposition it faced in the first. And for the Chinese too, I mean, I think one thing that also gets to me is their insistence on speaking Mandarin. They never at one time felt that we're going to abort that and speak English. They stuck to what they believed ought to be. For me, it's just so sad that in embracing English or the English ways, there's certain things that should have shored up our belief in who we are that we allowed to be eroded. And along that, some of the things that should have set us to a point, especially when it comes to herbs. I believe that Africa is, we are in the tropics. So there's certain plants that you will not find in other parts of the world. And then the properties to those plants are genuinely known by the indigents of this place or the indigenous people of this place, but we will not allow that to rise. Somebody mentioned something here that even if you decide to do your research concerning that, the government can one day say everything you're doing is against the law and shut you down. Then what? Then what happens then? So we would like to get your thoughts on this. Please, what do you think about the write-up? African black man, you're on your own. 0810-951-0951 and 0817-0000-951 for texts, for phone calls. Good morning, Annie. Since my friend introduced me to leaves called dogonyaro, I have not been to a pharmacy for malaria treatment. Each time I have malaria symptoms, all I do is plug the leaves, cook it, and drink. This is from Charles. Well, are we going to start having dogonyaro in bottles? Annie and Ogaima in the studio and the guests. Good morning, Anu Mekao.
Yes.
Annie, late Bob Marley once said, Africans, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. It's a shame Africans still depend on their slave masters' approval. New Western world says, Africans, you're on your own. Please, Africans, develop yourself and stop destroying what is developed on by Africans. Kudos to Madagascar for being in the front line. Yewuna Woko from Kolu community said that. But you know, for Madagascans too, they're not black Africans.
They are not completely.
They are white.
Good morning, Annie. Please, for record purposes, the Malaysians did not come to Rizom Palm to get their knowledge about oil production, but rather acquire the knowledge and inputs from NIFOR. That is the Nigerian Institute for Oil Palm Research in Edo State. Yeah. This is to correct the misinformation in the media here, and particularly in the interest of our children. Bethel from Port Harcourt. Who mentioned Rizom Palm?
Nobody mentioned Rizom Palm. They came to Nigeria to get this seedling.
I don't know who said Rizom, but I don't know why.
That Malaysia came to Rizom Palm.
No, I don't think anybody said that here.
Yeah, it was Rizom Palm now. Rizom Palm here in LA.
No, but they didn't come to Rizom Palm.
I mean, as in they came to Nigeria and they drafted their people to come to that place and understudy the process.
In any which case, he says that they went to
studied it in Lagos. They're in Nigeria. So they came to that place to understudy the process.
For emphasis sake, it would be nice to know exactly where they went. Lolo from Bacana says, good morning, everyone in the studio. Our leaders at both levels of government are confused on what measures to take in the containment of the spread of the virus. And if shops and markets are closed with view to curtailing the spread, are the River State Task Force immune to the virus? That you see them packed together in their hillocks without observing social distancing. Let our leaders gather critical thinkers so that we can do something different in the fight against coronavirus. God bless Nigeria. This text here says, again, the money being obtained from IMF is not borrowed or loan in the strict sense of those words. The money requested is actually the country's savings with the IMF, which the country needs to assess at this time for very obvious reasons. It does not attract any interest charges as normal loans would. This is from Bethel. But they need to put it back. Nigeria has the best doctors in the world, as we always claim. I think it's time for our doctors to step up to the challenge to come up with a Nigerian branded vaccine with the help of governments at all levels. I think this is what microbiologists really will be involved with. They're the ones who need to step up here. Please inform. Oh, he says the Awolowo leaf is highly medicinal. I should read this and sent me a link.
Yeah.
It's the name is Chromolena odorata.
Botanical name.
Yes,
but that's botanical name now.
No, that's what he wrote it. He said that's the name for the Awolowo leaf.
Okay.
Says I'm currently drinking it and it's very good.
It's all right.
All right then. Continue drinking.
Be careful before you drink.
Don't drink excess. I think again that's where the problem is. At what point is it too much? When do you stop drinking? Good morning, Annie, and all in the studio. I quite agree with the analyst. I wonder what the information minister wants to achieve by cheap publicity that President Trump had a talk with Buhari. Is not what should ruffle our feathers, nor excite our sensibilities. Prince Magnus is sent that in. And another here says, why can't President Buhari make 4 trillion naira budget as past governments were doing and fully implement the 4 trillion naira budget? It will make a difference. Instead of making it 8 trillion budget that has not been implemented up to 5% since 2015 or 2016, he should make his budget according to his funds and stop borrowing. This is from Mr. Law. I think usually along the line is the assumptions that, when they make the budget, they tie it to the crude oil sales. So when we're selling, we're making 1.8 million barrels per day, and we're putting in at $56 per. So we should be making this amount of money, and then we'll use that to fund the budget. Why is it that
the government before him was making high?
But I don't think any government should think that they should remain at full.
More cash from oil and even more production.
Where is the more production?
During Jonathan's dissing.
Before Jonathan, where is the more production? During Jonathan's time, where is the more production?
During Jonathan's time, we had.
I'm taking calls at the moment, and it is not easy to believe that President Trump that called Buhari can come to call him on the phone. With John, that's a different thing entirely. If you don't believe him, it's a different thing for you. Another here says, the other day you guys were saying that you are not sure the source that places Nigeria as the poverty capital of the world when they have the likes of Haiti, Pakistan, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, etc. These analyses you guys shared today, the absurdity in borrowings to finance our budget, corruption in almost all the public sectors of Nigeria, our police ranked as one of the worst in the world, high-level insecurity, and their likes are the real reasons why we are a joke in the global community. I'm pained. This is from Bob. Good morning, Annie, Oga Iman, the guest in the studio. My name is Gift Anyangu from Che. Does the government lack moral courage in how to treat its citizens that they have driven from pillar to post? Please, they should stop bargaining. They should stop bargaining power. Annie, do you know that the gods are not happy with our leaders? The gods are to be blamed for the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Gift. Oh, really? Good morning, all. WHO rejecting Madagascar's herbs for COVID-19 shouldn't worry Africans at all. Rather, other African countries should also try it to prove its efficacy. An Igbo adage says that a snake seen by one person is a python. It's just like Nathaniel asking Philip if anything good will come out of Nazareth. They are rejecting it because it came from Africa. Had it been it came from another continent, they would have grabbed it with their two hands. I'm only encouraging African pharmacists and herbalists to do more so that if the product is effective, we can use it by ourselves. Kudos to Madagascar. Thanks. This is from Fortune from Abba. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Annie.
Morning. What's your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Dixon, calling from Port Harcourt.
All right, good to have you. Go ahead.
I would like to greet everybody in the studio. They've really spoken well. Well, I only want to speak on one side about the issue of copycat. I think everything we are doing in this country, we wait for the WHO, for the European countries to decide for us. If a governor in this state, in this country, said they use black seed oil, honey, your state governor, and recover with these 7 days, what is wrong with Nigerian government and NCDC to go and investigate and find what these guys use to recover? Must we wait for WHO? The same WHO that have misled nations. Do you know one of the issues Trump had with the WHO is that the first time, early January, WHO said this coronavirus is not transmissible. I mean, it cannot be transmitted from human to human. Go and check the record. Early January, when Trump wanted to close down the airspace to flight from China, they said no, China can contain it. The WHO has misled us several times. So why must we rely on them? Don't each country look inward. If there are things you can do locally, I mean, if you get herbs, it doesn't mean you're an herbalist. Even those drugs we take, they are made from herbs. So we can't NCDC or Nigerian government set up things to look internally what we can do. Must we wait for, okay, do you know that WHO did not, first of all, agree to hydroxychloroquine until Trump came to talk about hydroxychloroquine? Before that, all this started using, the WHO approved it before Trump came to talk about it? No. But they discovered that it is working. Even Saudi Arabia adopted it. Must we wait for the WHO to be deciding for us? What kind of country are we? Can't we have scientists? Can't we go in locally and do our own investigation? If your state governor said he used something like this, I recover within 7 days on record. Can't they go and use that black seed and investigate and develop it and say, okay, this we can, if somebody recover from it like this,
that's it. All right. We got your thoughts. I don't know what we have to. We need a prodding. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Okay, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, my own is very simple. Having listened to you people about the Negroid blood. Well, this is my opinion. It can't be disputed. Okay, but I would rather it be left to me as my opinion.
It is your opinion, obviously.
I can't.
It is. Yeah. Now the thing is, someone said that we are under the grip of neo-colonial manage yourself to be manipulated. How far has it been since the colonial masters hands off?
A school, you don't have good roads, you don't even have Nigeria, don't even have an airline. Ship is grounded. Look at the pandemic we grew up, we take half all those things because, well, without naturally, that is the thing we eat now. That's what even taking us to the hospital for this operation. There was nothing like operation. After that, born against that to think to them. No single operation. But now, the preservative they put in food is to absorb easy things for me, or people come. That is the problem with the black man. That is what we call it. People. There is something fundamentally wrong with us. Our brothers travel abroad, they don't come back. We will absorb them, make something better from their life. Oh. But Africa here, when you do something important now, they will victimize you.
All right,
we do everything naturally possible, politically possible to bring you down as a human being. How can you stay here when you have opportunity to live here? Thank you, Charles.
Charles, we got your thoughts. Thank you so much for calling in. Good morning, Annie and Ima. Was this how the previous government was borrowing to run the affairs of the Nigerian government? See how this government are borrowing. When they finish borrowing all the money in their pockets, they'll start borrowing humans from other world. And Stanley from Port Harcourt. Well, but you must remember that we suffered from a recession in 2016, and we've been recovering from that slowly. And in recovering, gadgets, you send that in from Port, and they're still effective. We bought losing, you send that in. And the writer spoke the obvious. Our forefathers used herbs. Their wives delivered without surgery. But today, our wives use routine and end up in the theater. Our brain is imprisoned because we fail to value ourselves. Remember Dr. Balaka with HIV drug. OBJ waged the war. That was the end. This is from S.
Said it all. You know the problem of Africa? Mentality. These donor masters came in disguise. But today they have succeeded in doing that. But it's not by force that you should dance to their tune. Is it by force? Then dance on their tune. They didn't know what these people did. They said, look, if we give this is an opportunity for us to develop the mentality of who you are. And I believe that we should dance on that tune and to ensure that what is described as Japan, APA is a Japan of Africa, we will utilize it and make sure that we make use of our senses as African man and develop Africa. And you know that they say in Biafra that Africa dies. And that is the truth. If Biafra comes today, you will see Africa will be liberated. That's my point. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
Is there any place like that?
We've got to go. On that note, with that Biafra note, we've got to go. We've got to go. Obitima, let's hear